and the director of the brand new movie Off Ramp.
Writer, not writer.
Give it up for Nathan Tate. How you doing, man?
Yay! Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to come join us and talk with us for sure.
There's a dope poster behind you. I just want to start right off with
I
that.
have a lot of them, man. There's a whole bunch of. There's a pretty crazy one.
Oh my God!
Oh,
It went from like, oh, that's cool to holy shit! I don't know if you can show that.
It's maybe not. I don't know. That's why I try to. But it's from Africa. It's
That'll be fine. That'll be fine.
We're
okay.
Well, that's funny, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love cockwork, man. That's super
Big fan of
Cockwork.
Yeah, cockwork.
Yes, exactly.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I like the original.
Yeah,
I like the original.
that sounds like a knockoff kung fu movie. It's like cockwork watch. But anyway, thank you, sir, for coming on our show.
Yeah, for sure, man. Welcome. Sorry you jumped in. We had juggalo controversy going on in the chat, but that's a constant thing.
All good. I hear you. And there's a lot going on. You know, they just dropped a bunch of new trailers and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. It's hyping up the new Joker's card.
Yeah. Well, Mikey Clark's back. That's good news, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
It's great. It's great. It's awesome.
Yes, I want to start off by saying, man, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
Yep, I share a birthday with Violent J. I think that just goes to show that, you know, it's all meant to be. You know, the carnival provides. It's all basically the way it is.
Hell yeah, that is the theme, right?
It's the tagline of the movie. Everybody.
That's right. That's right. That's what the shirts we made for for the crew. That's what we put. We put the carnival provides on the back because it just I kept finding it to be such a true phrase. You know, I mean, not only like, you know, what we experienced, like what I experienced at the gathering and like from the folks that I met and just whatever. But then, you know, if you just remain open to like magic in the world, you know, I think you see it. You know, I think that the carnival does provide, and eventually, like, you know, I mean, you get to go through a bunch of shit and stuff, kind of like ends up finding its way to work out. You know, and I think it's a really beautiful notion, and I like using that phrase for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is fitting. And you guys, you kind of put it into perspective a lot more in the movie than as you did just now too. But like just as we think about it in general, it's always like a silly thing, but now it's like a, you know, it's almost like The Secret or something like.
Well, it is, yeah. You know, it's the power of the power of, you know, the putting it out there and like, you know, letting the universe provide you with what it needs to. You know, as long as you listen to the universe, you listen to the carnival, and it's gonna provide for you. You just got to know how to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be open to it for sure. You have to be open for it all to happen. Otherwise, you know, if you're going to turn your blind eye, you're going to be, you know, you're going to be myopic and narrow-minded. You're going to be myopic and narrow-minded. You're going to miss out on the rest. And I think that's a good. That's appropriate for just life in general. You know, if you're narrow-minded and only looking one way and staying myopic and you're not looking outside of that, then you're going to miss a lot of good things, you know?
It's the power of positivity, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's real. That's real shit, man. I mean, being positive is real stuff. You know, it really is. It's one of those things that you hear as like a young person and you're like, well, that sounds like some garbage. And then as you get older and you start to like experience it, you're like, okay, Dad, I guess you were right.
Yeah, I'm not super religious, but I'm into like the, you know, energies and stuff like that, and the universe, and like being in tune with the universe is saying, you know, when you're on that frequency with the universe, you'll know it. Like things are just going to start lining up for you and all that stuff. It doesn't always go that way forever, you know, but you got to stay on that path. Like, you know, you just got to follow the signs as best you can. And yeah, so I mean, it's a real thing. The power of, you know, of putting it out there. I can't think of the terminology of it, but yeah, yes.
But yeah, and you know, I mean, I think just in general, like the golden rule really like goes above and beyond any religion or anything. You know, I mean, if you just treat people like you want to be treated, it's a good thing to live by. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Getting all philosophical already here.
It's all good. I mean, we love it, man.
I mean, we live. I mean, if you want to break it down, technically, all the juggalo world is in a philosophical, like, you know, mumbo jumbo belief and all that stuff. So,
sure.
Yeah, you know, the clowns just like to follow God, but you know, that doesn't mean you have to tap into, you know, the power of the universe and stuff like that, and the energies, and it's all kind of the same thing. It's just on what resonates best with you.
Sure. Yeah. I think you guys see that in the film. By the way, thanks for such a great review, y'all. It was really really enjoyed it, and yeah, it was great stuff. So
I appreciated the movie. I think it's great for like I said in the beginning of this show. That's as far as like the Juggalo history catalog, I think it's going to be a great thing to be in there.
Sure.
Like I love. It's very well produced. I was watching. And I'm like, this could have came out of Hollywood. This is I understand it's about juggalos and stuff like that. So. It's not going to, be a blockbuster, but I love the way it was shot, the way it was done.
Hey, it ain't too late. It can be a blockbuster.
It can, yeah. I hope it is. I'm not saying that I hope it's not. I hope it is. I think it was very well done.
Thank you very much.
And that's not just me, because you're here saying that to you. That's just my honest opinion.
It was just so hard not to spoil.
Yes,
we wanted to talk about shit. It was like, but things happen, and it was cool.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. I guess I should have been maybe a little more specific about what, but it was. I mean, there's those two big turns. There's two big things that we just because it's a shame. We just want everyone to be able to have the similar kind of experience of watching it for the first time and having those moments that are kind of surprising in a good way. And it's everybody wants to have that kind of experience. We want everybody to have that, who watches it. And I'm with you. I think this is, somebody told me before, which I think is very true, that it's like, this is like there's potential that this movie could be like one of the biggest like cult hits of all time. And I'm like, well, that's the section of the movie store that I fucking lived in, is the cult movie section. So like, that's the greatest compliment to me, I mean, that's what I always kind of wanted to make. And I think the thing, it'll just kind of have that like trickle, kind of experience of a little bit here and a little bit there.
I mean, look at Terrifier. I mean, it started out like it was an indie film, and then it became a cult classic, and now it's round 3, I think.
Yep.
And yeah, that's how it starts. Yeah. I think this definitely has potential for that for sure. And I was telling the gentleman to my left and right here that I really appreciated it because I don't know if you intended it to, but for me it came off that like this was like the golden era of juggaloism, like in the 2000s to 2010, that
when
era.
Alphabet was around.
But like I think that like that's kind of how we all felt, like the magic in the air and all that stuff, and like going to the gathering, like it was such a big deal. And I think that it's like a time capsule for me, of like my teenage years of being a juggalo. It's like a time capsule, and I was like, I felt that magic again, and I was like, I remember that. Oh, I know that guy. I was there for that. And I think I appreciated that from this, because like, yeah, sure, you could have made one that reflected how everything is now.
I mean, I think he did, except for that's a younger generation.
Well, for us, I mean,
yeah, we're just old.
We just see it through old eyes, I guess. I see it as like, oh shit, this is from when I was growing up, and who knows? The Juggalos now could be that way now. I don't hang out with them, so
they still got that glimmer in their eye.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, so no, it definitely resonated with me as an old school juggalo. So
thank you very much. I mean, I think one thing I'm happy about the movie in the end is that it is sort of like out of a certain time. Like, you have one cell phone in the movie, but like that's the only cell phone, and cell phones have been around for 20 plus years. So other than that, there's nothing that really indicates like the time period other than, I mean, I think you're right. Like it's obviously post 2000 and maybe like, but I think, we were pretty careful to kind of keep things kind of vague in that sense. And I'm really happy that happened, because I kind of think when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, look, it's like, we don't even really indicate what year, there's like nothing that really tells you when it is. And like, and I think you're right. Exactly. Like, because like that kind of peak time of like, when the Juggalos were kind of more like out and, just in the zeitgeist a little bit more, people were just talking about it a little bit more. And when everybody, I heard you guys talking earlier about Lotus and stuff like that, like those eras and stuff like that, that just seems like the peak time. So I'm really glad that it fits in there. But I also think it's cool too, because, there's still a lot of people out there that don't have any idea who Juggalos are. And that's one of the things that, like, as I've gone on this journey making this movie, I'll like explain it to somebody. They're like, you made a movie, what's it about? And I'm like, it's about Juggalos. And they're like, what are Juggalos? And I'm like, okay, well, let me tell you about Juggalos. And like, let's talk, so I think it's really cool that we also have this ability to kind of like share this knowledge with people and kind of like let people know a little bit about this subculture and almost, it's like, it's interesting because the movie's like both for juggalos and for normies. Like I want everybody to like kind of have to be able to connect to it in some way. Like, and it's funny too, because like I'm like always more nervous when juggalos watch it because I'm like
we're a little judgmental on things.
No, it's not that you're judgmental. It's just that it's your culture. You know what I'm saying? And so like, of course you're going to be like a little bit more on edge about it. And I get it. Like most juggalos, have been maligned either by the media or by people or by like what, there's always something. And, so like that, I get it. Like I get that people being a little on guard about it. But then I think once they watch the film, they see, or we start talking about it and I start kind of telling them what my intentions are, what my hopes are for the film. And I think people, see like, hey, this dude's at least trying to do something good. I mean, well, I don't know what I did, but I try to do something good. You know what I'm saying?
I speak for just myself here, but well, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I like I said, I appreciated how it was like a time capsule, and it really resonated with me how I used to be and all that stuff, like going to concerts as a teenager and stuff like that. And this would be a movie that I would reference if anybody wanted to know really what a juggalo was. This portrays it, I think, perfectly. I think it like, yeah, this is what it was. Watch this. You want to know what a juggalo is? This is it. This is it. So I think it was perfectly done as far as portraying juggalos being juggalos. Obviously, there's some over the top stuff, but you ever walk through a gathering for 3 days? There's over the top.
Oh yeah, you'll see most of that.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get tired of the whoops. You're gonna get tired of the slang. Every juggalo does. So
watching babies.
So I think it was I think it was very well done, and it portrayed us perfectly, in my opinion. I'm not gonna speak for anybody else, but I think it was perfectly portrayed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know I went to the gathering in 21, and I was there like, because I went and I did like one of the meet and greets with ICP, because I basically was just wanted to tell them that I was making a movie about juggalos, and it was like that Bigfoot like thing or whatever that was there, like the hunt for Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, yeah.
I got that like meet and greet thing so that I would meet and of course it was like 2 or 3 in the morning or something like that. It was in the middle of the night.
That's a good. Yeah.
And I go there, and of course, like the first thing I noticed, like we're all kind of waiting out there. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, we're waiting on the thing, and I just hear all the megaphones and the "fuck yo sleep," and I was like, "Yep, this is we're here. We have arrived.
Show me your butthole."
Yeah, show me your butthole. Well, for some reason, I feel like "show me your butthole" is like less, but "fuck yo sleep" is like, man, that's an aggressive thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's more aggressive,
especially if you're trying to go to sleep.
It's more aggressive at 5:30 in the morning when the sun's coming up and you've been asleep for 30 minutes and somebody comes and says "fuck yo sleep." You are gonna get aggressive. How about it? Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I was definitely like, whew. I stayed at a hotel. Whatever. I had a girlfriend there that we had to stay.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah. I'm a hoteler. I've been to 10 gatherings. I haven't been in a couple of years, but when I would hotel it, because you got to get away from that fucking heat, man.
Yeah.
You can't.
Oh yeah, I can't survive this shit.
I especially now. Shit, I'll die.
There are no buttholes shown in the movie. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
It'll be the deleted scenes or something.
I mean, that's not true. That's not true. There is one butthole shown, and it's Butthole Ben.
Butthole Ben.
Butthole Ben is shown. That's what I was just about to say. Butthole Ben is in the movie. So you're right. You're right. One butthole is shown.
He is one giant hairy butthole.
Yeah. I do love that Butthole Ben has that. Like, I love to tell people that, especially like to tell non-juggies like that. It's like, oh hey, Butthole Ben is actually in the movie, but like I won't tell you who he is, so you have to just
look for the hairiest man to flash on the screen.
And he's a good dude too, man.
He's a good dude.
I met him. He was very kind. He was really cool. I was so lucky.
First time I ever saw him, he gave me PTSD. We were at Astro, and it was like third day or whatever, and we were in the restaurant in the hotel getting breakfast or lunch, and I look over and I hear a commotion. All I see is just directly into this man's butthole, and it is so dark and hairy. And like all I see is just surrounded by waitresses going, "Sir, you got to get off the fucking table."
Yeah. It's way different in that situation than the Gathering.
That was the first time I ever came across this guy.
It's like a sarlacc pit, right? You know?
Oh, it's so bad. It's so scary.
That's funny.
So yeah, we definitely want to talk about them. I want to learn a little more about you. So like, a lot of people who do juggalo stuff, it's like a juggalo made a movie, but you're a filmmaker who made a movie about juggalo. So like, how did you get started in like I know you, like, I guess you went to school and you started as a gaffer or something like that. Like how did you kind of get started?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. I went to, I was like, I always loved movies. So you could see I'm a big film nerd. I went to grad school at Loyola Marymount to make movies. And then afterwards, I'm from New Orleans. That's where we made the movie, was in New Orleans. And I was in LA at Loyola Marymount. And like, I basically came back home for a high school reunion. And there was kind of a big burst of filmmaking in New Orleans. We had like a aggressive tax incentive, and so like New Orleans started having a lot of TV and film projects down here. And a friend of mine who I went to college with, he was working on a movie, and he was like, "You want to come out?" And I came out and I started working. So I got basically in the electric department. I started like doing lighting and shit like that, and then I moved up to be a gaffer. Meanwhile, as I was doing that, and that was kind of paying the bills, I still always wanted to like shoot and DP or be a cinematographer, and I would do that, and I would make music videos and whatnot. But like the kind of like I'd always had this desire to make a film and tell my own kind of story of my own. But it's like it takes a little while for that to happen, and but it was kind of like always in my head, right? It was like always there. I always wanted to do it, but it's like being a gaffer is a pretty big job too, right? Like it's pretty demanding. Movies are really time consuming. You're working at usually 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, at minimum, sometimes more. You have kind of big breaks and whatnot. But so during one of those big breaks, I'd had this idea to make this movie, and it was about juggalos. I saw, a little of my history with juggalos. I had like the Chicken Huntin' maxi cassette single, cassette from back in the day, and like I bought it, and I thought it was kind of silly and fun and whatever. And I think then I just kind of like moved in a different direction, kind of like went more like backpacker hip hop or whatever. But like I did, so I didn't necessarily follow ICP, but like I knew of them, I knew that they were there. And I knew that juggalos existed. And then there was, kind of those times you were talking about, like the Vice documentaries were all around. And so there was a lot of like conversations about, and the Tia Tequila and all that shit and all that kind of stuff.
I was there for that.
Yeah, oh, nice. There you go. So like that time was like happening. And then, I just kind of like, again, we just kind of knew about it. But then afterwards, I saw somebody pointed out to me and sent me the link to American Juggalo, the documentary. Yeah. And that I watched that one, and it was the first time I had heard of the concept of the Juggalo family love, and the idea that like a lot of juggalos find each other and find this found family kind of thing. And that, a lot of the people in the documentary, they came from broken homes or from other things. And it was just something so sweet and kind and beautiful about that I really, really connected to, particularly because, these are also a guy who's, spray painting his face, you know what I mean? And like, and to me, like, the guy you're talking about, the juxtaposition of that kind of stuff was really interesting to me. I thought it was really, I grew up, like going to the church and stuff like that. And I always was like, I always hated the hypocrisy that I would see in the church. And to me, and it made me kind of like, what is this? I don't get this. You're trying to tell me that like, a Buddhist is not like going to make it into heaven. That's like the biggest pile of shit I've ever heard.
He believes in the wrong sky guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wrong sky guy. Yeah. And you're like, this is absurd. Like there's no way that if there isn't a benevolent God, that is what is happening.
It's like, that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
And I think, and so for me, I thought that, I really connected to the fact that, juggalo, these juggalos in the documentary, that there was this idea of like that they were behaving in a way that was, more Christian than some Christians, and I thought that was something really cool and really unique. And I just had this image of like, I won't do it because it'll be a spoiler, but there's the big thing that happens whenever they sing Miracles, which you know.
Yeah.
So that was like the moment, that was a thing that popped into my head, was this moment of like this thing. And I was like, I kind of worked backwards from there. So that's a little bit about me and about that.
That's wild. That's just came right from that. That's super great. And this movie actually started. You did a short first. Is that how?
I did like a short, like it was like a trailer. It was kind of like more like a teaser trailer to like make kind of more, they call it a proof of concept sometimes, right? So like you just do this little thing and then you can kind of like raise money or something from it. And really, so this process was long. My co-writer and I started writing the first draft of this film. Well, I had written it as a short film, but then I knew, I was like, what's the point of making it as a short film? Because like that scene I was just mentioning, it's like so expensive to do that I'm like, well, if I'm going to do that, I want to just do it, for real. So I had written it as a short film. I went with my co-writer, stayed with him for like 2 weeks. We wrote the first draft, and that was in 2015. That was like a long time ago. Then I kept wanting to make the film, but I kept, getting jobs and stuff like that, and life kept happening. So I kept kind of getting like interrupted from that. So at like sometime around, I think like 2017 or something, I was just like, I felt like I just needed to do something, to just kind of like get some momentum going. And so we did like a little, teaser trailer thing. And it was interesting because I really learned a lot about the story from that at that moment, because as I was like editing it together, it like started to take on this other shape with like the voiceover and this sort of like slow-mo and the kind of like, this sort of, I like to call it like the, Terrence Malick Juggalo movie, so it's like my like, Badlands with like juggalos or whatever. So it kind of starts to like, although I don't think I achieved that. I'm not that good of a filmmaker, but the point is it just gets like, I think it was like, that was where I kind of found that sort of aesthetic. And so it was cool. I mean, it was definitely like, it definitely taught me a lot about the film and like how to do it. So, yeah, it was very informative, but it wasn't really like, the intent was never really to make that only as the short. It was really just kind of like a teaser trailer to kind of like hype it up. And then too, like when I did things like made the pitch deck and asked my family for money and shit like that, I had like this thing to show them that was like, it's going to be kind of like this, but better.
I felt watching the movie, I got vibes from like, like almost like a Pulp Fiction type narration, almost. Like it like with the voiceovers and stuff like that, and like it was like a fourth wall type narration. And then I also got vibes that like, did you take any inspiration from Wade from Grand Theft Auto 5? Because I felt like I was watching a story mission from
Right.
Wade from Grand Theft Auto 5. Like I just felt like what was the guy's name? I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to be
Cyrus.
Yeah, that guy.
Cyrus.
Like I felt like he was Wade from Grand Theft Auto 5. Just not as dopey. He was more innocent and more, more realistic, I will say, because like, Grand Theft Auto 5 was more of a parody. But I just felt like it was kind of a mashup between those while I was watching the movie in a good way. I was just like,
no, I'll take it. I wasn't specifically, inspired by Grand Theft Auto 5, but I do like Grand Theft Auto and I've definitely played it. And it's like, I think, so much of it is like so many of these characters, a lot of these characters are like, when you write, especially we wrote it for so long, right? Like it was like,
I know you had more research involved. I'm not saying that you just like saw it and read it off. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna make a movie about this guy. I was just saying, I got like hints of it. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, look, I think one thing about making a film is like anything that like if someone connects something to it, like in that they consider it something that touches them, it's like I take it. Like a lot of people say that the film starts out like Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, and
I said that in the review. I was like, no,
you're not the only one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the story is kind of like it carries like that. It's that they get into the hijinks and
stuff. They get
like
into some hijinks on their way. So like if you like Harold and Kumar, by all means, like that's cool with me too. You know what I mean? I mean, I have my own movies that I'm referencing and things like that because I'm a fucking nerd, as you can see too. And like that's the kind of stuff that I get jazzed by, is like, you know, making like weird references to David Lynch or Stanley Kubrick or whatever pretentious things I can come up with. You know, it's all, you know, and there was, by the way, too, there is a lot of research in it. I did see in your review, you know, you guys were talking about how, you know, there's a lot of these stories and a lot of these things are like real, and you know some of these people, and
like almost all of them. I think we collectively know every story and every person that's referenced in this movie.
That's awesome, right? I mean, to me, that's so cool because I'm like, you know, I wanted it to be genuine to juggalos. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want juggalos to look at it and be like, oh, and like kind of roll their eyes and not really, you know what I mean? Because it just wouldn't feel as cool.
At no point that I feel like it was being disingenuous. For, I think they said that word right. Yeah. Like I never felt that point at any point during the movie.
That's great. That's great to hear. I mean, you know, because it really was not my intent, and it is, like I said, I go to the gathering. We wrote the script, and I end up going to the gathering. And I met Scotty D through some movie people, and he helped me with the script a little bit. And then I was going to meet him at the gathering, and so I met him at the gathering, and then he introduced me to Jimmy Soda, Mankini, Psycho Scott, Beardo, all those guys. And Jimmy was just so like, you know, giving with his time. He was just like, because Jimmy loves movies, as you know.
Jimmy's amazing.
He's an awesome dude. I mean, he's just such a fucking sweetheart.
Jimmy the hair guy. He's Jimmy the hair guy now.
I know. I give him
soda to me.
I love to give him shit about that because when he first did that, I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, that you spent this much money on someone's hair. But now I'm like, well, I guess I have to eat my words because it clearly was a good investment for you.
Great investment, yeah.
Really. I mean, like probably the best like hair investment that I think there's out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we love you, Jimmy. Hell yeah.
Yes, we love Jimmy Soda. He's the best. So anyway, Jimmy introduced me to so many people. He basically took me around the gathering and was just like, here's all the people you need to know. And like, you know, if you want to film these guys. And he was just telling me story after story and introducing me to people and, you know, hearing story after story. And I came back from the gathering with just like, you know, a litany of stories that I was just like, these things have to go in the film because
Juggalo talk for days, man.
Yeah.
You just sit down at any campsite, they will tell you stories for hours.
Yeah, they will. But, you know, a lot of it comes from, you know, especially at the time, I was really hungry for all that, you know, because I wanted to hear all these stories and try to, you know, put them in the film and share them. And like I said, I can report back that you know, at the film festivals we've been screening at, people really connect to it, and they're really very curious and interested in juggalos, and they're you know, I think a lot of people have a sort of have a bit of a bias about juggalos because they just all they've ever done is seen the Vice documentaries. All they've ever seen is like that. They don't really know. They may not know any juggalos, and then they watch my film and they're kind of like, oh, maybe even I was a little prejudiced about this. Maybe even if they're a liberal, accepting type of person, maybe they've even been a little prejudiced about people. And you know, as much as we can like help people see other things and see how to treat people and see the idea that we should all treat each other as much like humans as we can, then more power to us. You know what I mean?
I mean, only if you would have had a Cheeto in this video, it would have probably sealed the deal.
That's a pretty isolated story that you guys have. That's great, but
things like that happen
that's
more
not
often.
Juggalo, you know. You go to
that's pretty. I mean, so one of the biggest stories from gatherings past of ours is what he's referring to is we literally a really long disgusting story short. We watched a large young woman basically get fingered by a Cheeto Puff, and at the end of it, it turned into a Cheeto Crunchy.
That was very sucky.
Oh, it was bad. It had
hair on it, and
I had a hair that was like
he threw up after he put it in
2-inch fucking hair, and this dude ate it, and I about we lost it.
But something similar happens in the movie, so it's fun.
This is true. There's some you know, I mean, even if we can't have every Juggalo story, I think we get the spirit of it right, you know. Right.
It's definitely so. But yeah, something you're talking about with the whole like not being a you know, it doesn't make juggalos look bad. I mean, you watch the review, so like the only like anything bad that I had to say about the movie was in the beginning. As you know, I'm a juggalo, but I also live normal life too. I can do both. The dialogue was like overwhelming to me in the beginning, like over the top. Yeah. But as we discussed it, I was like, oh, maybe that was on purpose because now they're charming. Like it didn't. So someone who didn't know us at all would probably think the same thing. Like, what are they saying? Why do they keep saying this?
I brought that.
And then you're like, so like you have that mentality of these guys are idiots. They're juggalos. And then you're like, oh wait, no, they're compelling and they're nice.
Yeah.
Like, was that purposely done, or is it just me like noticing?
I mean, I think it's yeah. I mean, yes, it is purpose. Like a little of my journey with juggalos is also that like when we first wrote the script, it was kind of more of a comedy, and it was a little bit more, you know, it may even have had a slightly mocking tone to it. And like as I continued to go on with the script and kept rewriting it and kept getting to know people and kept doing research, I wanted it to become more and more human and more real and more about people. And I realized, you know, definitely that it was like that was the wrong tone, and like why would we, you know, what's that about? But I think what does happen is exactly what you said, is that like it's because at first, I mean, I will say that like for like a normie audience, they're laughing at a lot of those bits, but I think that's the same thing as we sort of like play into the stereotype a little bit at the beginning, because we want to sort of like make you feel a little bit like, you know, just that this is what it is. This is a status quo. And like you said, as it goes on, you get to know these guys and you get to love these guys, and then they're the heroes of the story and like the shit they go through. And like you said, it sort of starts to taper off, you know. I mean, they're sort of like the over the top juggalo sayings and stuff kind of like starts to kind of like sort of kind of peel back a little bit. So I definitely think the intent was definitely to I mean, I wouldn't say like to me they're not obnoxious, but like I think some people would say so. Some people would think that they may start out obnoxious and that they kind of get to this other way. I don't see it that way. They're my characters, so I love them. But that, you know, I think that is, and I think it was really interesting to hear you in the reviews kind of like say that, and then like it was interesting too, because at first, I remember you saying like, oh, you know, and then like later on in the review, you were kind of like, well, maybe it is kind of like that. Like maybe it is like to kind of get you into it, and then we kind of all like get to know each other. And I think that's kind of human though. I mean, that's how we all are as people, you know, especially if you meet somebody who's like really just boisterous or loud or whatever. It's like at first it's like, whoa, like what, let's slow down a little bit here. And then as you get to know them,
table ninja.
Yeah. Stop showing me your butthole before I ask for it. You know,
right? It's just like old boy getting on the fucking chair and rapping in the diner.
Exactly. So yeah, so it is intentional, and I think it's one of those things that it gets. You know,
that was definitely a juggalo response. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you up, but that was definitely a juggalo response from his buddy. Going, instead of going like, "Bro, what the fuck was that?" It was like, "So great,
yeah, so dope."
I'm so proud of you.
Well, plus he hadn't been rapping in public, you know. So
yeah.
You know.
I just thought it was a funny response, because I mean that is a juggalo response. They're like, we're just totally like fuck everybody else. Like, dude, that was dope as fuck. You're brave as hell. Yeah,
I love it. That's great.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. I forgot. What was I saying? Was I saying anything interesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but here I'll show you guys this. I got this here. This is fun. This is our Juggo punch. This is one of our.
Okay.
I told you it's Fago. Everybody, they're like, no, it's real Fago. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
Fago, because we couldn't use Fago. But we made
our with ICP.
Juggo punch.
It does not fuck with ICP, as you know.
It's just so dumb.
Let me get one of those, man.
It is. We had to. Maybe we might be able to figure something out. I've got some labels left. Yeah, we got a few.
That's cool as fuck.
I would
love that.
So we did. Obviously, we I met two people whenever because I'd seen. Sorry, I'm back up a bit. I saw Family, the movie that's like sort of Juggalo adjacent.
Yeah.
And it was what happened was in the credits, I noticed a guy who I'd worked with who was like the unit production manager on Family, and I'd worked with him and knew him from working as a gaffer. And so I sent him an email or a text and was like, hey, Kenneth, like hook me up with your Juggalo connects because I'm trying to make this Juggalo movie. And he hooked me up with Scotty D, and he gave me Bill Dale's email as well, ICP's manager. And so because we were going to license Miracles, and I wanted to license the Hatchet Man and do all this other stuff, just because obviously we wanted to have, and originally we wanted to try to have ICP in the movie, but it's a challenge to do stuff like that. We're on a budget and all those kind of things.
I think it would have kind of taken away from it unless it was like them on stage or something like that.
I think in the end, I think it was again the Carnival provides. I think in the end, it's better that this is a movie about these guys because it's like, because I mean ICP is obviously where it all comes from, but I think I've tried to say, this is another thing I say at a lot of the festivals. I'm like, I really believe Juggalo culture belongs to Juggalos, and I want that to be what the film is about. Is really
we are the best cult following there's out there in the music industry. God damn it!
Amen, dude. Hope.
Deadheads be damned.
Who else is there? There's Deadheads, and there's Kiss Army, and Kiss Army is like.
There's Swifters
and Swifties, yeah.
Goddamn Swifties. I don't think we could fuck with them though. They'll fuck us up, man.
Yeah, there's some pretty powerful people there.
Not only do you got Swifties, you got the soccer moms that drive the Swifties to the fight.
Exactly. So when I talked to Bill, that was one of the things I talked to him about. I was like, hey, you got to give me your Fago connect so I can try to get Fago in the movie. And Bill was like, Fago does not fuck with
such thing.
I just started laughing.
He was like, they do not want to have anything to do with this. And I was like, that seems so crazy. And he was like, I know. He was like, it seems crazy to me too, because, he told me that they talked about doing like a collab, a Juggalo soda kind of thing. And I'm like, it seems like a win-win, but apparently Fago, has their image and they want to preserve their image. So
it's not family friendly, even though we're literally chanting family in our show. So it doesn't make fucking sense.
Well, and it's funny because people actually refer to Off Ramp as like wholesome, which is funny because I think it's probably is like the most wholesome movie with a adult man drinking breast milk in it,
Yeah. That's pretty wholesome.
That's such an off the wall plot point in a movie. It's like, I get because of who this said person was that you wanted to make him look as vile as possible. So like looking back at the end, I was like, okay, I'm really glad that he was drinking breast milk because of who he was, because I also was there for that. It's fucking wild, man. I don't even know how you came up with that concept.
It's some weird shit. I always like
we don't know that guy.
We don't know that guy personally, but I saw him being chased by the fucking mob.
Yeah. The Juggalo Justice guy, yeah.
Oh yeah. That was great. That was a good time. I was like, oh, there goes.
Well, and like and Scarecrow kind of represents like a lot of the like
scumbags.
They're not so savory Juggalos, right? The ones who the ones who don't really see the light of day. That don't really see that like the family. You know what I mean, right? That was my intent. As far as the milk itself, it was like, I always love in a movie, one thing I love is when the bad guys drink milk. I just think there's something about milk, and it's like the first food we have, and it's like it's so weirdly wholesome and clean, but at the same time, like this is so fucked. And like, I mean, Clockwork Orange, the Cordova Milk Bar, I mean, No Country for Old Men, drinking milk. I mean, it's just like a thing, and I do it in my movies a lot. I stole it from someone. I stole it from Stanley. And in my short films, I often have people like drinking milk who are bad guys because I don't know, something really twisted about it. So we took it to another level with Scarecrow.
Fact. Bad guys drink milk.
Yeah, bad. I mean, good guys do too, I suppose. They need strong bones, right?
That's what the government says.
Yeah, that's what Big Milk tells us, right? That's what the big.
So you got the licenses to do use Miracles from Bill, and you had a few Ouija songs in there too as well, right?
Yeah. We have Spring Valley and Walking What the Fuck, and we met Ouija. So we had it's kind of one of those things like once you start to open Pandora's box, it starts to open for you. Again, the Carnival provides kind of thing. You start looking around and you start asking around and you start to find things. And one of my producers knew a guy now. I think his name's Andrew Mayhew. Sorry. and he had made a couple music videos for Ouija, and then also like Ashley, who plays Eden in the movie, she knows Sean. Is it Sean Barrett, Uncle Jeff?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she knows Sean as well. So she was kind of like in similar circles. And I knew, because when I went to the gathering in 21, obviously I knew of ICP, but I didn't know about Ouija Mac at that point. And like, the Juggalos were like, this is the new guy. He's like, whatever. And I remember his set started, and it was Spring Valley was the first song. And I was like, okay. I was like, I get this. I get why the kids like this. I was like, this is some cool shit, and this, the kind of like, just the whole aesthetic, he just really seemed to get the vibe and the aesthetic in a really cool way. So anyway, long story short, we kind of connected with Kevin Buckley, his manager, and they were really awesome, really helpful, and really cool, and very excited about making the movie. So yeah, it was great. I mean, I think once you get, it's like that thing, like once you kind of like get let in a little bit, once people kind of like know that you're not full of shit and you're not like trying to exploit them, and you're really trying to tell something genuine and cool, I think, people start vibing with it. And that's the thing about Ouija. And I hope he sees it. I'm excited for him too,
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see because, like a lot of times you'll see, most people wouldn't get permission for like a Juggalo making a Juggalo movie isn't going to get rights to use that music. You know what I mean? But yeah, at least they know you're legit. Because a lot of people are asking, like, is there music? Did he get the rights? Is this real? Do they know? Yeah. So like everybody knows this movie exists. You didn't need permission, but technically you had permission to
well, yeah. I mean, I would need permission to release it like world, widely released, right? Which is what we're hoping for, obviously, and what we're doing. So I would have, I do need to license the music for them. So we ended up, like I said, we licensed the 2 Ouija Mac songs, the Miracles. There's a number of like heavy metal songs in there that were like one of them is, there's a group from down here from it was one for a group down here called Acid Bath. It's from Homa, the nearby area, and they kind of invented like sludge metal, which is in like swamp metal. And anyway, I was a really big fan of them growing up, and we ended up connecting with them, and we're like, hey, can we do some license this song? And yeah, it was great. It's really cool. I'm very happy with a lot of how the music works in the film, and because then also the score is like so different. It's very like sort of it's not what you would typically hear from like Juggalos. It's much more like atmospheric score. Yeah, but it looks good.
So the biggest question we've gotten, I'm sure you've gotten it as well, is when and where can people see this film?
So we the next film festival we're playing at is Chattanooga Film Festival. This is in June, and this will actually be our virtual premiere. So there'll be a virtual like online screening that will be available. So you have to like get the tickets for the screening, but it's out there. Then in the fall, we do have a distribution deal with a small U.S. distributor. So it will come out on premium VOD. So it will be on it'll be like on iTunes and Roku and Amazon for like purchase or rent at first. And then after that, it will end up on a streamer at some point. We don't know which streamer. Tubi is one that's pretty popular, and does a pretty good job for independent filmmakers. But it will be out in that way. And there will be a physical release. There will be DVDs, which is really exciting for me. I have a huge DVD collection, and I know a lot of Juggalos are also fans of physical media as well. So we're very excited about that part of it. I hope that they do everything I want them to do for the DVD. That would be the dream. So
would that be meaning that you sell it at like the Gathering or something at the Psychopathic tent?
Well, that will be to be determined. What we would probably, yes, there's something along those lines. We also, by the way, we'll also be doing a small theatrical one as well, but that'll be like, we will basically be doing it and putting up the money for it. So we are one reason why we like held on to the theatrical rights is because I wanted to have the possibility of like to go to, you know, outside of Hallowicked, you know, or Hallowicked weekend or something or whatever. I wanted the ability to possibly, you know, to be able to go and screen it at, you know, some places and have like, you know, potentially, you know, around Juggalo events and stuff like that. And it is, you know, look, nobody wants this movie out faster than I do. I mean, it has been, you know, we started filming this in January of 22, and again, I've been, you know, and so it's like it's been a struggle for us to get to this point, and we want so much for it to be out there for everyone to be able to share. Just know that that's like our and my like absolute like, you know, desire to get it out there, and we're doing everything we can. But we are going to have those things. We will have physical media, we will have a streaming, you know, thing, and we will have screenings. And I think that is like one of the chances that we have to do something really pretty cool with those screenings. So, you know, y'all might tell me, because y'all are all in where are you guys? Are you guys St. Louis?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be like, hey, there's a cool theater in St. Louis, like come up and let's do a one night thing. And, you know, we talk about it and we figure it out. And it's like, you know what I mean? That kind of thing can happen because we will own the rights. So, because you know, the other thing is that there are lots of juggalos in the movie. There's a lot of footage from the gathering. There's lots of stuff like that. And, you know, we want everyone to come see it and see their friends and see themselves if you're in it.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier because people were asking, and I was, you know, we're talking about just how hard it is sometimes to release independent movies, and obviously you want to get the recognition, and even like Kevin Smith, who's huge, that's how he puts his movies out. He does tours on his own. Now, obviously, he knows he's going to sell out, but you know what I mean? He comes to the music venue and plays the movie and does Q&As. Like, you still can't go see it anywhere else. It's only when he's here, because you can't just put your movie in a movie theater.
No, it's true. And I did a movie with Kevin, did the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Awesome dude, really such a gentleman, really kind guy. And, you know, it's funny because it is, you know, Kevin is exactly right. Here's a perfect example of someone who, to everyone's like point of view, it seems like you got somebody who's really super successful, right? Like he's got a handful of really great movies that are out there that, you know, all your friends have seen. But he still struggles to like pay the rent, basically. I mean, he's still the reason he does those Fathom events is because that's how he can really maximize the money in order to, you know, keep making this art, because, you know, the corporate like systems just don't really work. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the same thing. And Kevin is, I admire him very much for not only for his writing ability, but his perseverance and his independent attitude, which is also part of the Juggalo spirit too. I mean, I see, you know, when I went to the gathering, the other thing I was so impressed with was everybody had their own painting and their own thing, and everyone was doing their own DIY art. And there's that like kind of like that spirit of like independent creation. And ICP also like has always like, you know, promoted that and supported that, which I think is really super cool that they do that too. So I, you know, that thing of being independent and being an independent artist is like, it's just like the world is just making it harder on us. And I don't mean just me as filmmakers. I'm just saying any of us that are like independent artists that are trying to make stuff when it comes to music. The fact that music is so like worthless now, and you used to be able to make money making music, and like now the biggest musicians in the world barely, you know, they have that, you know what I mean? It's like it's not a viable job. So, and the same thing kind of goes for filmmakers. It seems like it's big. I mean, yes, the amount of money it costs to make Off Ramp is expensive, but like it was still very cheap when it comes to the like any other movies. And it is still really hard to get that kind of money together. And it's still, you know what I mean? Like it's not. So the more and more we can do it. So you're exactly right. We want to do more of those like kind of screenings and showing things. Plus, it's just like I think it's a good thing to show people, and I think people want to come and see it in a theater. It's one thing I've seen too is like this movie like really slays in a theater, which is really awesome, because people like just kind of the group of people together like watching it. You get lots of laughs, lots of cheers, lots of gasps, lots of crowd reactions. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think that was the first thing you said to me when I first reached out. You're like, you need to see it in a theater, but I guess you can watch it. It's like,
Well, I
yeah,
was just trying to encourage you to see it in a theater if at all possible.
sure. No, I definitely
Oh,
would say,
absolutely.
you know, once it is available for people to see more conveniently, it's definitely one of those movies you want to see more than once. Like,
Yeah.
just us talking about the movie, like when we did the review, made me want to watch it again because I was learning new things from their perspective.
Okay.
I was like, oh shit, I need to watch it again because now I see different things. Like,
yeah, no, that's great. That's great to hear. One of my favorite things that happens in a screening is when somebody's laughing too hard at one joke that they miss a second joke, because then I'm like, that's good, because that means when they watch it a second time, they'll get the second joke and they wouldn't get the first one. You know what I mean? So that's a real joy that when that happens.
And then someone asked us earlier, and I just kind of wanted to ask, like, so you know, with the everybody wanting to see the movie, they don't really know what's the. So obviously you're on the festival circuit. What kind of, like, for people that may not know, like what does that do for you as a filmmaker, and like, you know, what obviously you guys have been killing. I see, like, you know, best in show and all these different things. Like, I don't know, just explain like how that festival circuit works and what that does for an independent filmmaker.
Sure. So it's like there's one route to make a film, and to sell a film. A lot of times you'll see these kind of straight to video releases that like come out on a streamer, and like that's the only place, and they don't do film festivals. That is certainly like an option. Oh yeah, look at that. That is certainly an option that you can just basically just kind of go right to a place and release the film. We always felt like that we were making a film that was like a film festival film. And the thing is that what a film festival will do a couple things. One, so like getting your world premiere is like a big deal, right? That's like what you have when you have a film. You have your premiere status, they call it. So number one, the biggest tier is your world premiere. Ideally, you would want a world premiere at one of few places: Sundance, TIFF, Cannes, South by Southwest. I'm sure I'm missing some, but one of these really big festivals that I just mentioned, you know, Venice, Berlin, like these really, really big festivals that have like, I mean, because also Francis Ford Coppola is also premiering his film at Cannes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. So that's the most ideal situation, right? But you know, that doesn't always happen. And those are really difficult film festivals to get into. And they have a lot of like bigger movies that are kind of going, and also too, they want big stars in their, like Cannes wants big stars at the festival because that gets people to go, because people are going to go because they're going to go see Francis Ford Coppola or whatever. So you have this process where you kind of have to go after the sort of like biggest festivals you can, and then you're kind of like and you have to kind of wait to hear no from them before you kind of go to your next level of like festivals. So we were on our next level of festivals, and we ended up getting like a couple of really great ones. We world premiered at a place called Splat, which is in Warsaw, Poland, which was pretty wild, because I was like, how is this movie going to translate both literally and figuratively to a Polish audience? But the thing is, they loved it. I mean, they absolutely loved it. Like, we had two like Polish kids who dress up as as the characters in our movie. And I asked Scotty D, I was like, hey, do you know any Polish juggalos? And he was like, as a matter of fact, I do. And he sent me the name and contacts of two Polish juggalos, Jacek and Darek, who I contacted. They don't live in Warsaw, but I was like, if you guys can come out to the thing, I'll get you tickets and whatever. And so they were like honored guests at the screening. And they loved it too. They were like, they weren't sure what to think of it. They were very cautious about the film, but then once they watched it, they were like, oh, this is really great. So we won best film at Splat, and then we played at New Orleans Film Festival, and then we played at Sherman Oaks Film Festival. That was all in 23. And then in 24 this year, we played at Boston Underground Film Festival, and then Panic Fest in Kansas City. And then just last weekend, I was in Calgary for the Calgary Underground Film Festival. So there's a couple things that happen. One is like, you end up getting reviews. Like in Boston, we got a lot of reviews out of that festival. There was a lot of press at that festival. And that's really great for an independent filmmaker, because oftentimes you have to pay a marketing or a PR person to basically get these kind of reviews for you. And we ended up with 3 Rotten Tomatoes certified reviewers reviewing our film from screening at Boston. So like that was huge. also, sorry, I'll back up a little bit too, is that having these other things like allowed us, because my sales agent like took the film to their buyers, and having a win from Splat and a win from New Orleans Film Festival and that kind of stuff, like then made the buyers be like, okay, that's more reason to buy it. And then so it's like it's twofold. One, it can literally increase the value of your film. Two, it's also starts building the hype train. I mean, just people talking about it. The festivals really are like what are getting people to talk about it more and more. And then just like when you Google it, just to be able to Google it, now there's a bunch of reviews. You know what I mean? It's when I start in January of this year, basically like we didn't have like any reviews basically at the beginning of this year. Now we have like tons, and like just that little bit of press and stuff just starts to make it much more. It just makes it more. It spreads the word. So I found, and not to mention, by the way, too, it is also the most fun thing to be able to do as a filmmaker. And it's just really satisfying to the soul to be able to go to a screening and watch people watch your film. This is what we do this for. It's like it's just to be able to show it to people. So
yeah, probably similar like we were talking about with the touring, except you're doing it for these big film festivals.
Mm-hmm.
If you came and did it here, or did a screening here, I definitely would go.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be dope. I did something like that recently with Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah, I'd go for the experience. I think
that's awesome. That's kind of what we're thinking is trying to do more like sort of small thing. So we'll see how it all kind of shakes out. But that's sort of kind of what we're thinking, because we think, and the other thing too is like, what makes money in movie theaters now is people doing like re-releases, right? Like kids love to go see Alien in the movie theater, which I don't blame them. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you said you guys have been killing it. So like, and with the festivals and with the recognition, so essentially you're trying to get people to buy. That's how you get distribution, because you can't do it yourself, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there are ways you can do it yourself. There's this website called Quiver, I think, is one of them that does that's like a simple, like a kind of like self-distribution way. And then there's another one called like Film Hub that allows you to sort of do it yourself. But you're kind of hoping to have a little bit more reach. Sure. I mean, most ideal situation obviously would be like A24 wants it, right? And then you're like, okay, if that happens, then you're like, great, then A24 is going to use all of its ability to get the film and the word of the film out there. That didn't happen, but that's okay. We're still going to keep pressing on, and we've got to, it's going to be a cult movie no matter what. So I think that's kind of like the thing. But yes, it does help you get like a little bit better distribution. It can help you get the word out there for the film. The other thing is that for like the next film that you're going to do, because this isn't the only film I'm going to do. And I've met a lot of great people who worked in different parts of the film industry. And once you kind of broken into the festival circuit and kind of like started to get to know some of these people, it becomes a lot easier the second time, because now they know who you are. You're not just kind of like just a random person sort of submitting on whatever. But the main thing I'll say too about it is like, it's weird because we had like almost a whole year of like just no acceptances to festivals, and I was pretty discouraged. And then we started getting into festivals, and then we started winning, and you're like, okay, I mean, it's either like we don't want this movie, or this is the best movie. You're like, I don't know what to think.
Right. I know, that's awesome. Like and myself included, and I've seen other people's comment like about good and bad. Like obviously all juggalos are going to want to see this movie, and you'll probably sell a shit ton of DVDs. But it's like people think the normies are going to be scared of it, but obviously these film festivals aren't juggalos. I mean, I'm sure some of them may come out, but you're seeing film people coming to see this movie, and you're winning best film and official selection and grand jury. Like, is that something you expected from the quote unquote juggalo movie? Like,
I mean, I certainly hoped so. I hoped that, because again, I mean, you guys have seen it, like it's for juggalos, but it's also is for other people too, because I mean, the whole movie starts out by being like, what is a juggalo? And the voiceover starts talking about, what a juggalo is. And obviously juggalos know what that is. You know, there's no news there for them. So I always wanted it to be that. I mean, I am a little surprised in a good way at how, you know, how many people are connecting to it, and people you wouldn't necessarily expect to connect with it. I tell a story about, like, at the New Orleans Film Festival here, we had like this very lovely, you know, rich white woman who, you know, I met her. She was like a board member of the festival, and I met her and was like, I want you to see my film. And she told me afterwards, she was like, I saw the picture and I read all the warning, you know, the trigger warnings, because New Orleans had like an option of 15 different trigger warnings to put in the film, and our film checked off 13 out of the 15.
Oh, wow.
So next time we'll get all 15. Next time we'll get all 15.
That's a goal.
Right.
But we had 13 out of the 15. And so this woman, she's like, I did not know if I was going to like her movie because of the pictures and because of the description and because of these trigger warnings. But she was like, but in the end, it was actually my favorite movie of the festival, because it's like, because I think, you know, once you watch it, you see that it's like, it really isn't what you expect. I think it's not what you expect, no matter what you expected in some ways. Like, even if you expect it to be like this, like, you know, super over the top, gritty, realistic, super dark juggalo thing, it's not exactly that. It's kind of it's got a little fairy tale element to it too, but at the same time, like, it's not, you know, it's like, it's just kind of like a lot of different things. And I, you know, I'm very happy that people are you know, connecting with it. And I think it's kind of like, it's almost like, in my opinion, I feel like, okay, I think the juggalos are going to like it because they're going to like seeing themselves and seeing some of the music and seeing some of the stuff. And then I think normies are going to like it because they're going to learn that maybe they were judging these people, and maybe they could, you know, be a little more open-minded and accepting. And really, truthfully, like, the other thing is that what I'm trying, like, you know, I did the little interview with Humble Among, and he asked me what was the one thing I could try to say, and I was like, I think we're all juggalos is like really the truth of what the spirit of this movie is that, you know, a juggalo is just another name for something that, you know, people like. I mean, I would call myself a movie nerd. That's what I would define myself as, you know what I'm saying? And like, how is that really any different? You know what I mean? Like, I'm wearing a Twin Peaks shirt, you know, that's the same thing as like wearing an ICP shirt, right? It's just fandom, and it's just people being like, having passion for something that they connect to, and some piece of art that speaks to them in a way.
Clockwork Orange behind you over there.
It's Clockwork Orange behind me, yeah. Because, you know, because art speaks to me, and I think art speaks to a lot of people, and I think whatever kind of art it is that speaks to you is like pretty irrelevant in the end, you know.
For sure.
If it makes you feel good and it don't hurt nobody, I mean, fuck yeah, just go after it, man. That's why I love that, like, you know, being a nerd, it became like kind of cool in the mainstream. You know, like, yeah, embrace your fandom. Like, yeah. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. Well, if it makes you feel good, everything else is shit outside. Like, the fucking world is burning.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta grasp it. Any little bit of dopamine we can find. And absolutely, if you want to nerd out to something, like, absolutely. Like P here, he got into comics recently, and like, well, I say recently, been a while, but, you know, like, fuck yeah, do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's all just the same. It's all just,
sucks.
just different forms of the same thing. And yeah, you're right. It does when like, and I think just you know, our generations, because, you know, they just started to really grow up with like a lot more, you know, we started growing up with all this other, with just so much more stuff. So many more things to choose from that we find we really, our generations are really the ones that like have like, and a little bit before us, but like, you know, there's taste, you know what I mean? Like people all had like a certain, you know, a certain taste. There you go. Buy some Replicon stuff.
I'm gonna mute your buttons. I'm gonna take his buttons.
You brought it up. I figured I'd put it on the screen.
Absolutely. Come on, man. Just go.
He's got variant covers of like who's the guy that does your Pooh comics?
Marat.
Yeah, Marat. He's got different Joker's card variants of he's got the Pooh comics.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So those are y'all. Oh, okay. That's y'all stuff then.
Yep.
Like you wrote the comics and stuff too?
I just variant covers.
No, we just enticed the covers.
Our exclusive variant covers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Nice. It doesn't. It's all of it's cool. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's all cool to be able to. make your own things and put your own stuff out there. And like, we as humans are like creative beings, like we're meant to create, and like this is what we're supposed to do. The answer to your question is yes. We'd definitely be open to doing a midnight viewing at a theater for the core fan base. Absolutely, very open. But yeah, I think we're just creative beings, and we all need to create stuff. And I think I say this a lot too, is I think that like art is like one of the only like weapons that we really have as like people to, discuss the things we think are unjust, or we think that could be better, or try to like, make us, because like what voting doesn't do anything. Like you're not going to make a difference in this world, like by going and pressing a button between, two things that are, just basically the same. You're not going to make any real like headway in this world doing like, you can be kind to your fellow person, and you can make art. Those are about the things that we can do to really like make a difference in the world. So my attitude is make art.
It's a good expression of like how you're feeling and all that stuff. It definitely, there's been a lot of people that are a lot of people in power and government that have been threatened by artwork. As feudal as it seems, it's like, yeah, no, they look at World War II. They burned a lot of fucking artwork.
You think about it, it's like there's this movie, talk about World War II. There's this great fucking old movie called To Be or Not to Be, which is it was basically, there was a German Jewish guy named Ernst Lubitsch, and he escaped Germany and came to the US and started making movies. And he made this movie, and it was like mocking Hitler. It's so fucking funny, and they're like just constantly ripping on Hitler. And it made Hitler so fucking mad, because here was this German Jew, this Berlin Jew, who came out of his city and is going to the US and is like making this massive, like everybody like sees this film and they're all like just making fun of Hitler. And he's like, you know what I mean? It got so under his skin. And so so like, can you imagine that you could like get under Hitler's skin?
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite stories from World War II. Is I can't remember his name, but it was a black runner from America that won the gold medal in front of Hitler, and he just it was like the biggest jab.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, at the Berlin Olympics, that was fuck. Why am I thinking? I'm not forgetting it too. But it'll come. Jesse Owens. Yeah,
I knew it was a J. I was thinking Jackie, but yeah.
No, I know Jackie Robinson. Well, he was a great baseball player, But yeah, you're right. For Jesse Owens to win, I mean, that's the kind of stuff. And again, that's so. Yeah, I mean, maybe I guess athletics can sort of make that sort of can do that too. I think. I mean, that that's actually a good point. Is that somebody like Muhammad Ali is another great example of someone who said, I'm going to fight the system by using my like celebrity and using my like power to like fight the system. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
it's the only way that you could actually fight the system is to play their game and be better at it and learn their loopholes and just beat them at their own game. I mean, literally it's the only way.
People don't like that though.
Well, they really
one man did that and people blew their fucking tops.
We got Nathan, we have a special guest that wants to say hello.
Guest.
We have a friend that wants to say hello to you.
Special guest.
Oh, shit.
What's up, buddy? Nice shirt.
Hey, thanks, man.
What's going on?
What's up, Jimmy? How you doing, buddy?
How are you?
I
have about 2 minutes. I'm at work. I just wanted to pop in and say hi and tell you I love you.
Love you too. We were all talking shit about you a little bit. You have to.
Sure. Jimmy, the hair guy.
I'll be sure to do that. I'll be sure to check out the whole thing. You're 2 hours into this? Holy shit.
Well, I've only been here for an hour. They had an hour before. And I've been here about an hour. But yeah, we were we of course I was just telling them how much you gave me the open door through the gathering and introduced me to everybody. And
I hardly did anything.
I
was just there.
Joe, shut up.
Gatekeeper that opened the gate.
That's not true. He was the gatekeeper. Well, Scotty was like the gatekeeper, but the Jimmy was like he was the one leading me around, like holding my hand through the juggalo.
Whoa. Hell yeah!
It was pretty great.
I barely
did.
You guys
can see Jimmy in the movie. He's in the movie. You're a movie star now.
He absolutely is.
Jimmy is in the movie quite often, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, too much.
That's not.
Better tell all your View Askew fam.
I plan to. I'm gonna pump the shit out of it when it comes out.
Yeah, and that is one of the challenging things about the film is that it's hard. We all want to talk about it and we want to get it like when it's out there and there's like a click to link on, which that's when we all want to talk the most about it. And it's like trust me, we're dying to get there, and I want to get there as fast as possible.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
I think it's a good thing that you're letting the universe take its course with it, because then when it's time to come out, it's gonna be the best time. Like you said, the carnival provides. Let it guide it to the public. I mean, it'll come out when it needs to come out.
That's right.
And just build that traction, and I think it's gonna make a hell of an impact for sure.
Thanks,
all right, I gotta go. I love you.
Hey, what are you watching tonight, Jimmy? What are you watching tonight?
What am I watching tonight? I just finished watching Downton Abbey, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing now. I'm lost.
I fucking love you, man.
I'm a lost fucking man right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Did you watch
Fallout? That's what I was gonna say. Probably Fallout.
Oh,
That's
dude,
probably
Fallout
what I'm gonna do next.
fucking rules.
Yeah, it came out while I was in the middle of fucking Downton. Everybody's watching it, and I'm like, well, I can't give up on this now. So
I did not want to love Fallout, and I loved it.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna love it. I know I will. I'm surprised you did, but
You're gonna love it.
I'm hyped as fuck.
I really liked it a lot.
That's what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Have fun. Enjoy the interview. Love you guys. Be good.
Love you, brother.
Hey, Jimmy.
Talk to you soon.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too.
Have a good one, Mo.
I've never met that guy.
I love
you.
Yeah, they have.
If you ever go to the gathering again, you'll randomly see him running around in a diaper.
Well, yeah. Now, okay. All right.
That was actually the day we were doing. The day we did the majority of the gathering footage with the stuff was diaper day, and
diaper day.
So like at the end of the day, Jimmy's like, he's like, I got a fucking rash.
Yeah. Every time I see him on that day, I'm like, get the fuck away from me, bro. Right? I love you every day, but right now, like,
yeah.
I can't do it.
Oh, I got a fucking rash. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Great. I love Jimmy too because he always he'll watch like the trash cinema and stuff like that, and I'm always like, I always like to give him shit about what he's watching because I'm like the pretentious nerd, right? Like I watch the like arty old movies and nerdy fucking shit, and he's like he's gonna watch like every horror, anything that even comes close to horror he's gonna have seen. But I love to give him shit and like just talk about it, because anybody, again, that's my thing is like people who are passionate about something are the people I want to spend my time around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my wife loves cult, like shitty horror movies from like the 70s and 80s, and like there's a movie group around here that like rents out theaters and stuff, and they do viewings and stuff like that. And they actually just went on sale with their like movie marathon. It's like a 12-hour marathon, just cult class, or not even cult classics, like hidden movie gems that are just buried in just great horror movies that are just so bad. And we have a great time doing it, and it's got a little community that go and view it. It's great.
Well, that's one thing, the last 3 to 4 festivals that we've really played here and Splat where we premiered are really like they call genre fests, right? Which genre fests are kind of like are certainly they're not always horror, but it's like they're mostly horror in the genre fest, but a lot of times you get what they call like a fantastic film, like New Orleans. I mean, Off Ramp is kind of a fantastic film, like it's kind of horror adjacent. There's some like horror elements, but I wouldn't call it a horror movie.
It's funny that you mentioned that the horror aspect of it, because when this was pitched to me by P, like, hey, we got this movie we need to review. We're gonna have a link and all that stuff, and he never really explained what it was going to be, except he mentioned maybe horror movie type thing.
I thought it was going to be
horror-ish movie. He didn't know.
Was.
So I didn't look it up. I didn't do nothing. I clicked on the link and I pressed play on it and I go, oh, this is a Juggalo movie. What? It was it took me so off guard. I was like, I was just laughing for like the first 5 minutes because I was like, this is not a horror movie. I thought this was a Juggalo horror, like a Juggalo. I was like, I thought this was like a actual horror movie. I didn't know this was a Juggalo movie, and it was a pleasant surprise. But it was just so funny to me because I was going in thinking it was going to be like a cult horror movie, And that is further truth.
Well, but I think it fits in with the cult horror film audience, whether it is, I think that like that's the thing that we find at some of these, with like again we call genre film festivals, is that because I find that these people who the people who love those films, like you said, genre festivals are filled with some of the sweetest people I've ever met. You know what I mean? They're all really kind and they love this stuff and they're very excited about it. And so yeah, so we ended up kind of like being in like this really. So I'm also really glad that you had such a cold watch, because it's very, very cool to be so cold, and especially as a juggalo, to not know that it's a juggalo movie is like, well, hell, that's awesome.
I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into, and I clicked on that, and I was like, wait a minute. All right. Well, I guess I'll just see what the fuck happens, because I have no idea.
I knew it was Juggalo. I knew it was a Juggalo movie, but I didn't know it was like. I thought it was like family had a little bit of Juggalo in it. I didn't know it was straight up Juggalos the whole time.
I don't remember,
and I don't know why I thought horror.
Yeah, my memory's not too good, so he might have said the word Juggalo, but I know he said the word horror, and I was like,
sure did. Yeah.
I was like, all right, man, okay, so it's a horror movie. All right, cool. Cheesy horror movie. We'll watch it. And I clicked that. Nope.
It's like Juggalo Wrong Turn.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, for the people listening, I mean, there's gore in it and stuff.
I mean, it kind of is a wrong turn.
It's kind of a wrong turn.
Off ramp. It's
yeah.
But you're right. There is a lot of gore. It is horror adjacent. There is gore. There is some freaky things that happen. There are some, like, there definitely.
I think the gore was done well. Like this. The special effects on it and all that stuff. I think it was done well, because on indie films, that's obviously where the budget shows its face. Is where
that's one thing I had the advantage of, again, being a gaffer in New Orleans for a number of years. I had built up a good relationship with a lot of people in town. So like we had a really great physical effects guy who came and did a lot of he used to do like NCIS, and he's done a number of Blumhouse movies. His name's Carlos. He's really awesome. So there are like legit, like there are people who have worked on bigger movies than this, and so that was something that was really one reason why the film kind of like looks so polished in certain ways, although there's other parts that I don't think look that polished, but you know what I mean. It has that. It still feels like a movie,
it's not too over the top with production. I think is right in the sweet spot, because you can have the best production, but there could be overproduction where it's like it doesn't need that much polish.
Well, it's a Juggalo movie. Like, we want to have some grit. You know what I mean?
It's got to have some grunge to it for sure.
Of course. It wouldn't be cool if it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like,
it wouldn't be realistic. If you get too Hollywood, Juggalos ain't gonna be there.
It's not the shit that I'm into anyway. I mean, I don't want something that's too like, too polished or too much of anything. So,
and watching it for me, it did not feel like an independent film. It did not feel like an indie film at all. Like it was like the only indie part about it was that it was about Juggalos. It was like everything else. It was just like, I feel like this movie came off a set. Like this is really well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, again, I had a lot of help and a lot of favors that I definitely pulled to make it happen, but I think it comes through, and I think you can see it.
Absolutely. I'm ready to watch it again, man.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to ask a little bit about like the casting process. Like, how did you end up with like the two guys, or then like I didn't know who the girl was, Ash Smith, who's also in some crazy Trash World band. Like,
I love all four of their songs.
Right? So like,
I love their
discovering that. I was like, oh shit,
it's like a fever dream.
It made me like her and her character even more, discovering her as a person.
Yeah.
But like, how did the casting process for this movie kind of come about?
It's a good question. So like, some parts like I knew going in, because again, about like my history in the industry. So like, Reed Diamond, who plays Gavin, the sheriff, the real bad guy. He, he's somebody I worked with on a TV show called Underground, and then we did Purge, the TV series down here, and I did both of those, and I met him, and he was just a guy. He was just a really nice guy, and I I sent him like an email. And I was like, Reed, I've got another evil white guy for you to play. And he was like, and he read the script. He's really complimentary of the script. He really liked it a lot. And he said, he said in an interview we did with him, he goes, you know, in the Diamond household, we make our money playing evil white men. He's like, I played a Nazi, I played a slave owner, I played a Marvel supervillain, but Gavin is the most evil out of all of them. And I was like, yes. So Reed, that was kind of like that. So for
twisted for sure.
Yeah, Gavin is not a good guy. For Ashley, who plays Eden, I had a friend who is an actor in LA, and he's here. He lived in LA, you know, he was kind of back and forth or whatever. And we were talking about the script at one time, and he was like, I had this girl in my acting class who you're gonna love. He's like, she was a juggalo growing up, and she like is like whatever. And so he connected us. I sent her the script. She really liked it a lot, and she read the part, and it was just like, I was like, you're fucking it. You're definitely it. She was like, her older sister was really more of a juggalo. I think she was kind of like, you know, she kind of went to a couple shows. And back when, I guess when they had like regional gatherings and stuff like that before, you know, whenever that was, I know she had gone to a regional gathering somewhere in like East Texas. She's like a pretty big model. If you look her up, she's like, she did like, you know, Forever 21 and like, Playboy and like whatever, and she was in like a weekend or something. Yeah. So like she has a successful career as a model anyway, and she wanted to be an actor, and was taking the acting classes where my buddy met her, and we just like, it was one of those things that whenever she read the part, I was just like, there's nobody else for this role. It's like her, you know. And she rules. She's so cool, and she's so like, she contributed so much to the script and the story, and like as you know, it was like she just got it so much and just really, really added to everything. A couple of the other parts, like Miles, who plays Randy Cox, the cop who gets dosed with the acid. He's a friend of mine, and I like still like act as a cinematographer, and I shoot his movies for him. And he's like the chair of the film department here at Loyola New Orleans, and he's just a friend of mine who I worked with a couple of times, and it was like, you know, he's a great actor, and I was like, oh, let's put him in there. And then like Jared, who plays Scarecrow, that was more from like I had seen him around town because he's local to New Orleans. I had seen him on a couple of things, but then when he just sent in a tape, it was just like the freakiest fucking thing ever. We were like, we just basically cast him on the spot. We were like, nope, it's done. He's Scarecrow. There's no question.
Yeah, he's definitely creepy.
Yeah, and he just like, he really connected to like the line in it whenever Scarecrow goes, oh, you're so fucking hardcore, Scarecrow, because it's like that thing of like, we all know those dudes who like talk themselves up and like think that they're so cool that they speak in the third person. Anyway, that was kind of him. But then our leads it was interesting because we actually originally had two different people in mind for those parts, and it didn't work out with them. And it was, and we kind of had to go back to the drawing board. But I think it's another one of those things that the carnival provides. We had to do that because in the end, when we went back, it like worked out perfectly. We had basically our casting agent here in New Orleans, who's like a friend of mine. He basically sent out, a national search kind of thing. And Scott, who plays Silas, sent in his tape, and I like to tell the story. He did this actor thing where he reads on his tape and he goes, I'm Scott Schofield and I am Silas. And I was like, oh, and I got goosebumps. I was like, he is Silas. Anyway, it worked on me, but he followed it up with a really great read. And then Johnny, who plays Trey, my co-writer, Tim, he had a movie called Low Life. He and another friends, he co-wrote another movie called Low Life, which if you haven't seen, I recommend. It's gory, it's cool, it's funny, it's great. It's in Low Life, it had a really successful festival run in like 2017, and they got like IFC Midnight like distributed the film and whatever. So anyway, Johnny plays a big part in Low Life. He plays a guy who also recently gets out of prison, but that guy has a swastika tattooed across his whole face. and that becomes because he was basically trying to stay alive in prison, and like the only way he could stay alive in prison was to join the like Aryan Brotherhood and whatever. But he's not racist, so that's like the joke. But anyway, so Tim was like, Johnny would be great, and he mentioned Johnny multiple times. And finally, I just listened, and really, we did like a reading between. We did like a chemistry read. Yeah. So we had like Johnny and Scott like read the parts together, and it was just like, this is it. You know, there's no question. These guys are it. And I'll give them credit too, because when they showed up, they had done so much of their own sort of private work to kind of like get to know these characters. And then they got to be really good friends, because it was like basically like, you know, it's kind of hard to like introduce two strangers and be like, okay, now go be best friends. Like you've known each other for 20 years, you know. Right. And give them credit for really like diving into the characters, diving into the script, and kind of coming up with this massive backstory for it.
So who actually wrote the raps that Cyrus sang in a diner?
So mostly Tim, my co-writer, did most of the. I mean, we kind of like wrote them back and forth, but you know, because I used to make beats and stuff. I had like a hip hop label and shit in New Orleans, and like there's a couple of beats in the movie that are mine, and anyway, so like we both, and like Tim loved rap too, so we both like know it, but Tim wrote more of them, and he'll always say, well, it helps that they're not exactly supposed to be the best rappers.
Right.
I'm a juggalo rapper.
I mean, they definitely were funny, and they did flow pretty good, to be honest with you. And I was amazed by that, actually.
I mean, it was pretty accurate for people, for artists that go to the gathering. Yeah, they're like, bro, we're going to go on the Sunshine stage at noon.
Well, and you know, the funny part is Scott plays Silas, never rapped in his entire life. Never. So he had to totally learn how to rap, and because he did a great job. And it's, again, he just cared. Like he loved the character and loved it so much that like he would just, you know, and that's what it took, right? The passion, because like that's what's more important, is watching the character's passion, so that he could like, you know, give it all.
Yeah, that man is clearly an actor, because like watching the movie and then looking at him, like photos of him on IMDb, I'm like, how the fuck did they make this guy a juggalo?
I thought they were. No, I thought the two guys for real. Like, he's he is a phenomenal actor, because I thought he was like legit. Like they pulled some juggalos. They found some juggalos that knew how to read, and they gave him the script. And they acted like I thought they was legit juggalos. Like at least him.
He's got the blonde Billy
kudos
Cyrus
to that guy.
hair. Like
kudos to that guy.
Scott is very happy to hear that. Well, one thing is that doing Scott's hair as Silas sort of transformed him, right? You know,
it's like, all right,
twisted braids. Yeah.
It was dreads. Dreads or spider legs.
They were like the spider.
Yeah.
The spider.
Okay. Yeah, the spider legs.
The Coolio hair, as I like.
That's why we do too. It makes us feel alive.
Yeah, it makes you feel like the character, you know, and the Coolio hair. It was always in the script that he had the Coolio hair. That's how we wrote it. But the hard part about the hair was it took like 4 hours to put it in. And so we did it, and we shot over 3 weeks, 3 6-day weeks. So we like had no time off. So basically he had no time to take the hair out. So we did it before the movie, and then it was in for 3 weeks, where he would just like sleep with it in, and like it was not the most pleasant, comfortable thing for him.
That shit hurts the scalp.
Yes, absolutely, especially after 3 weeks.
So he just got to be a juggalo for 3 weeks.
And he's like, God damn it! Can I wash my hair yet, please?
He was just out there living life.
The moment we wrapped, it was like.
They
were all coming in, like all the hair and makeup girls were coming in and like undoing it and like rubbing his head. He was like,
got 4 people on just picking his hair for 2 hours.
He literally had 4 people like on his head helping. I mean, he was so ready. But with the thing is, we actually ended up like losing some footage and having to do reshoots, and so they had to come back. And I was
bad news, buddy. We got to put the hair back.
That's basically what happened, and it was like. But it was going to be a much shorter time. It was only like 2 days. One of the funnier ones is that John Trey had like he had cut his like because he had that little like he had the little like
yeah.
the Lou Albano, the Captain Lou Albano, right? And he when he went home, his wife was like, "You have to cut that thing." So he cut it, and but he kept it, and he brought it back with him when we did the reshoots. He's like,
He could put it in the frame next to like the poster and all that shit of the movie. Like it could be like memorabilia.
I bet you Jimmy the hair guy might buy it.
Yeah, he probably would.
There you go. He'll fucking put it in his own.
So it was funny. We tried to like stick it back in, like using like pins or something, and use the like cut off, and it didn't work. So basically, he just took what he had and was able to get enough to like put a rubber band around it, and it worked fine. So
all right, so we're gonna have to look for that scene.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
well, now you definitely if you watch it again, you can definitely notice in his hair, his chin hair changes a little bit here and there. There's another one I won't tell you because I hate it, but and embarrassed.
It's like a little Easter egg.
But there's one really bad continuity error that does happen like a couple times in the movie. But I'll just let it be. I'll let the internet tell us.
I'm sure they'll find it.
One
more thing we're asking when we posted about the movie was the face paint. Like, where did the concept for the face paint? A lot of people were comparing it to like Kid Crusher. I don't know if you've seen or heard of him, the Australian.
There was a version of a script that had him in it, but really with the paint, what happened was I kind of wanted the like actors to like sort of kind of contribute and like help come up with it themselves, because I was also like, well, if you were a juggalo, you'd be kind of coming up with your own paint style anyway, right? And so I thought it was really more accurate for them. And Johnny, who plays Trey, he was a big metalhead, and he was like in a bunch of metal bands and stuff. So I think he kind of chose the kind of kiss like, sort of like, with the kind of flames on the eyes. And then, Scott Scott worked with they both worked with like the makeup artist to like kind of help design it. Scott wanted, because like Silas is sort of like, the happy, sad clown kind of thing. He wanted to kind of have that sort of opposite sort of thing. And then Ashley just did her own makeup herself. She was just like, I'll just do this, which was awesome. So really the truth is like, I basically let them do it. And like, I can, I was like, if there was something I didn't like, I would have changed it, but I thought it looked great. And I think in the end, it's like the fact that it's kind of their own sort of designs and styles really ends up like making it makes it work for them, because it's genuine to them. There's Reed, the guy, evil man in the world. No, he's a lovely human. Also is Jared, by the way.
Your daughter, bro. What's wrong with you?
I know it's. But yeah, so just Jared, who plays Scarecrow, that guy, he's a lovely human being, not the asshole he portrays in the movie, but that's what good acting is and good writing.
I mean, but yeah,
look at him. That's a beautiful man we showed earlier.
Yeah, right.
That's wild, bro.
That is wild.
Yeah,
and he was smart too. I like that you portrayed that. Yeah, no, we're idiots, but we also have our smart moments. That like he knew how to save certain scenes, like right off the bat, like, oh shit, we gotta do this. We gotta do this. She going down. We gotta do this. It's like, yeah, no, that's dope.
No, thank you. Yeah, that was that's a bit of like, I mean, because I think I think we're all that way. I mean, like you said, I mean, juggalos they're just people. It's just like, it's just like people are normal people, they just like think of things, and they, so there you go. You look at the paint. Trey also, they kind of did a little sort of nod to Violent J with the mouth a little bit, but then he with the eyes, it was a little bit more like kind of Kiss and like almost heavy metalish, which I think like really worked for.
Shit, I think is that more Shaggy right there,
or maybe more Shaggy? Yeah,
with a square off.
I think that one's Shaggy.
Kiss right there.
So yeah, but I mean I think that's real. I think that I think that's the thing, is that they're goofy, but they're not, and they may be like, they may do some dumb things, but they're not idiots. They're just goofy.
We have our moments.
Right.
We just want to live life and be happy, man. I mean, and I think that's portrayed pretty well. That's just like we're all human, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, and like I said, it's
behind the paint, we're all human.
Exactly. And I think that it kind of goes full circle back to the, how normies take the movie, is that normies really appreciate that thing of like we're all and truthfully told is like as you see the movie, like it's really more about like a metaphor that I kind of use juggalos as a metaphor for everybody, right? That we're all just kind of like, if you feel like an outsider, then this movie's for you. If you feel like you've ever been a little bit outside of society, that's what this is about.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Hell yeah, we are, and fuck yeah, we are the weirdos. What do you want? I don't want to be fucking normal. Like what?
I wouldn't want to be anything else.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, that's like all the best people are fucking weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to give props to is I don't know if you had a costume department or who was in charge of that, but you showed us the fake Fago earlier, which the juggalo juice, but then like everything in the movie, obviously. You said you tried to get like license for Hatchman and stuff, but you had like it was like almost an ICP shirt, almost like everything was just it was your own version of all like who came up with all like I noticed all that stuff because I knew it was like a little off, but it was still
he loves merch,
but it was still dope. I was like, oh, it's still dope, or like where did how did you guys come up with all those different designs?
No, great question. Yeah, I mean there was a couple things. One, like you said, I mean the truth is. I mean, part of it was like, there was certainly like a thought process behind some of it, and that like, okay, well, if we're done with the movie, I mean, I love merch and like I love shit and like I love to buy like exclusive cool stuff, and so for me, like to give the characters, specific shirts that are very like, specific to them, and also, I mean, you mentioned Tarantino. I love Tarantino earlier, like. To me, the Red Apple's fucking cigarettes are the coolest thing about that movie. You know what I mean? Like, well, not the coolest, but that's one of the cool. I love Red Apple cigarettes. I love the fucking Kahuna burger. Like all that stuff is like it makes it so much richer and so much more interesting than to have like Coca-Cola. Like who gives a fuck about Coca-Cola? And it's so it was always like intentional. So it's like what you notice if you like look back at it is we have like. A couple of like we used some shirts from like some bands that were like local and like we did like Les Legs. He's got a couple of shirts in there, and then we ended up doing designing those specific shirts. I had a friend of mine who's down here who used to be on my rap label, as a matter of fact, and he has a printing press, and that's what he does is like prints shirts, and
we might need his contact info.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I will happy Inkwell Press. He's great.
We print our own. Well, we don't print our own shit, but
but he's great. He's got called Inkwell Press down here, and he does a lot of stuff down here locally. And like he made like hats, and so we did all this special stuff because it was like, and it was true to juggalos, right? Like juggalos definitely have like it's like the merchandise and like having that stuff is very important to the juggalo, to identifying and seeing a juggalo. And so my buddy Gabe, who owns Inkwell Press, he designed both of their shirts, the main guy's shirts, and it was like one of the things that was like I want like a wicked clown, and he did the wicked clown, which is just awesome. I mean, it's just such an incredible fucking drawing. And then I specifically did the other one that said "Get fucked." And I will say this: it's not the best idea to have your lead character have fucked in the shirt, because then like when you try, like I'm cutting my trailer for like the distribution and they're like, you can't have fucked in the shirt. And I'm like, but he's the lead character. So it's like, oh my God, that was a little bit of, but I still like it in the end. But we
mainstream don't like those bad words.
I know. So we did that, and that helped it. But basically, it was my friend Gabe, and then my buddy Rowan, who I used to make music with. He's also a graphic designer. He's the one who designed the Juggo soda, and like we kind of took this because it was like he did this thing, and I was just like, oh, that's so cool! Like what a perfect like little like kind of a clown face thing. Like it just got the spirit of like Juggalo clown kind of thing. And so we used this image, and then I made some like hats and like a few other things out of that.
It reminds me of that paint on those little guys that you would get off those little vending machines, the little homies or whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the homies.
Yeah. It looks like one of those little homie face paints.
That's right. Here, hold on one second. I'll show you one thing. Hold on.
Okay. All right. He might have like a little homie Funko Pop or something. That'd be dope.
Some other fun little stuff we have from the movie. This is one of the
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's dope.
Yeah.
The Juggo.
Hell yeah, those are awesome.
And then we did, and then this was like because I like right whenever I cast Scott as Silas, I went on Amazon and sent him a ballad song that was like that was the the fake one, so he could start practicing with it.
Hell yeah,
Whip it out.
Hell yeah.
That's
Juggalo about the hell out of
Well,
that
yeah,
bird,
you gotta
bro.
get the little spin down with the butterfly knife.
I know, and it was so hard. And he was just like trying over and over, and he could. And then of course my nephew, who's like 19 and was helping us on the movie, he goes, "Oh, I could do that," and just like flip, you know what I mean? He's like a 19.
It's so funny going back to like I was saying that this was back in my teenage years growing up that I used to have a butterfly knife and I used to beat the shit out of my knuckles trying to get that.
Man.
Yeah, if you spun it just one little half revolution too much, you cut your knuckles.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. This is the spirit of that kind of, stuff. I mean, I think the thing is like, I think what, it's like, it's funny. You say that thing about like, because, the juggalos, I mean, especially our characters, I think they're juvenile. I don't think they're stupid. I think they're juvenile. Like they like fart jokes and they like, you know what I mean? Like, and
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Just music fans.
Exactly. And Beavis and Butthead are awesome. They're hilarious.
Yeah.
I fucking love Beavis and Butthead,
I grew up on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's our shit. So I think juvenile is a good way to put it.
yeah, I like that better.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
That
but I
definitely
love all
explains
I noticed, and even like the posters in the bedroom was like Juggalo, like everything in there was like that's almost. But I think it was cool. I'm like, man, these things are dope.
Thank you. No, I mean, listen, it was all intentional. It was definitely all intentional, and like we definitely wanted to do that because again, I wouldn't want juggalos to look at it and be like, oh, and like this is so fake, and like this is not, I mean, even if there's some things that aren't exactly, it's not all exactly true. It's like it's still the spirit of it is there, and I think that's what you can see is that you can see that the spirit of it is there, and again, like I knew this wasn't my culture to like discuss 100%. I wanted to just like but I that's why I kept like listening and asking, and trying to meet other people and really understand where they were coming from. And again, people like Jimmy and Scotty and Mankini and Psycho Scott, like they were just all so just invaluable with like and so giving with their stories and I mean, like you said, if you know Jimmy Soda, I mean, to know him is to love him. He's like such an awesome dude. So.
I just had an idea for like Off Ramp 2. Is that like you could go because like this one took place in the golden era. You could have one in like the decade after that. And like they're trying to bring the magic back to the gathering. They're going on a road trip to bring them.
Harold and Kumar saves the gathering.
Saves the gathering. they try to bring the magic back to their friend group. They're like come on, no, and then like
they set fire.
Everybody's moved on and got corporate jobs and
it's like the last Christmas. Yeah, one last hurrah! But like you set the drug bridge on fire because it ruined everything, and then you bring all the homies back together for one last gathering.
Smoke the magic blunt.
You smoke the magic blunt. You stroke the furry wall. Great. You reference Replicon Radio.
That's right. That's awesome. Cool. This has been great, guys. It's been awesome.
Hell yeah, man! I'm excited for more people to see the movie.
Oh hell yeah! Thanks.
So you're saying June? You got the digital premiere?
June we have. It's called Chattanooga Film Festival. I'll send you a link or whatever. And but Chattanooga Film Fest in June. I think. Hold on, I can tell you exactly. I think it's June 28th. Is when they.
So for everybody that wants to see the movie, if you can't wait, you'll be able to purchase tickets and watch it digitally during this film festival.
Exactly, the Chattanooga Film Fest, and you'll be able to June, I think 24th or 20. Anyway, that's about when it is. You can purchase tickets and watch it digitally at Chattanooga Film Fest. Then after that, it will be on streamers. There are a couple of other film festivals that are like we're hearing from that we may end up playing at because basically we'll play at film festivals right up until the point it releases, just because it's more hype and more help and whatever. Yeah. So if we get into any more of those festivals, I will keep posting it. Follow us, please, at Off Ramp Film on Instagram, at Off Ramp Film Instagram. I'm also Damn Nathan at Instagram. Find me there. I'm also Nathan Tape on Facebook. That's how we ended up connecting. And we also have a website, which is just www.offrampfilm.com. And we'll have a bunch of updates as it goes. And, it's so Chattanooga first. There's a couple other festivals that will probably come up. Hopefully, knock on wood, we'll have a few more. And thank you very much for that one. And then we will be on your favorite premium VOD site in the fall.
There you go. So look forward to that. Purchase it, buy it, and then obviously after that they'll have hopefully a physical release.
There will be.
So somebody has bought rights to that. Is that how that works?
So basically, it's the distributor who has the rights to the DVDs, and they are doing it. It's just a part of like the kind of deal. There's also the option that we could have tried to like keep the rights to the DVDs and done and made our own, but that's a big investment to make on stuff. You know what I mean? Like just like to make them before you sell them. So we're hoping that my hope is that they just do a good job with what they make the DVDs for, how they make them, and I hope that they're good and nice and whatever. We'll see how it comes out.
Do you have any? I know how that part works, but do you have like? So obviously they get to do it, but do you have any say in like anything bonus? Like if you want include these bonus features or these deleted scenes or anything like that, or have you planned on doing?
I would love to do all that. I don't think that's going to be I don't think it's going to be a part of it at first. I think that my hope and my thought about this is that it's basically will be like, it'll probably be a pretty straightforward disc at first. And then my hope is that after, it sells like gangbusters, that then they realize, oh, hey, maybe we can do a special, maybe there's something more here. That's kind of what I am hoping for. Because again, I'm like a big collector of physical media myself. So having something that's, kind of special is important to me.
For sure. When I heard you mention, I watched one of your interviews that you did talking about all the gathering footage and how you decided to include that in the end because I think Jimmy told you people want to see the juggalos. So I'm assuming you have a lot more footage of that type of thing that obviously isn't in the film because it's not about
people love seeing themselves on the screen.
But yeah, people do love seeing themselves. And
I mean, I could probably put together a 2-hour cut of just a juggalo supercut of.
And also, people love seeing their homies on the screen.
Yeah.
Like they want to see if they see somebody they know.
I think that's actually true, and that's actually what Jimmy told me. Jimmy, when I sent him like an earlier cut of the film, he was like, "Put more juggalos in it." He goes, "Juggalos love watching other juggalos," and I was like, "Yeah, you're right," and he was right. And
it is. It's a kink of ours.
And that's why at the end during the credits, there's all those like even more juggalos.
I love that outro, the credits that you just start because I agree that like you don't necessarily need like the raw footage throughout the film more than really what's in there, but like I love that the end of it that they're at the gallery. That's when the raw footage comes out. That's when you see, oh shit, that's my homie. Oh, okay. I just love those end credits that you guys did implement that into the film, and it was a really nice wrap up to the film. I was like, because it really gave that family feeling that like, oh, they're home. We made it. They're home. And anybody that's ever been to a gathering, like you get that warm, fuzzy feeling, like, oh shit, it's footage from the gathering. Love it.
No, you're right. And so like if I have my way and we can all make it work and whatever, I would do that. I'd put a 2-hour supercut of just like juggalo gathering footage. I mean, also there's I actually put there's like 3 clips, 3 little like edits I did of like one was ICP, one was Ouija Mac, and one was Big Hoodoo. I did like because Scotty gave I had like a press pass, so I was up in front like filming at the gathering with and stuff. So I got some really good footage also of the bands. I mean, obviously couldn't use a lot of that stuff in the movie because it's like it's their images and stuff, but I just put it up on YouTube. You can find it. I'll send you a link to it. But some of it is like there's just some like little things that. So there's plenty of gathering footage to do more special features.
That's awesome.
So I wanted to ask this earlier, but what actually inspired you to do a movie about juggalos? Just the culture itself, or
yeah, it was the culture itself. It was like specifically, it was American Juggalo. That documentary really, it showed me the Juggalo family love element, and that was, I had not seen that before, and I thought that was just a beautiful thing to basically to have this idea of found family. I mean, you know, not everyone is blessed to have like a great, you know, genetic family, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything other than they just the luck of the draw. And so I think that finding people that you really truly connect with, and that you feel like people really have your back, and that's what the thing is, that the movie really is about. You know, Trey and Silas have this relationship that lasts for a long, long time, and their friendship isn't just about rap music or about this or about that, but their friendship is about really being brothers, even though they're not blood brothers. But does that make them any less brothers? Fuck no, you know. And like the three of y'all are probably brothers yourselves, you know, but like you're not blood, but that doesn't fucking matter, you know what I mean? And so I think that concept, I think, was just so beautiful, and to dress it up in this with this culture that is so unique and so fascinating, and like it's really is unlike anything else, because it is like the last American subculture, and it is something that is, and like, you know, as I kept kind of like diving more and more into juggalos and learning more about it, I was like, man, you know, I mean, one, I love the passion that these people have, and two, I love that they're just want to, you know, they just want to be good to their friends, and they want to just see their friends, and they just like, they work their whole year. So many juggalos spend their whole year on getting to the guy. That's all it's about. And you're like,
anything, and they just hitch rides to get together. And I've witnessed it.
I'm sure you heard stories of like, oh yeah, no, I hitchhiked a week to get here, and I don't know how I'm gonna get home, but I'm here.
Yeah,
I did. I heard there was somebody who was like, they drove from Portland all the way to fucking Legend Valley, and they were like, they did it in Portland, Oregon, and they did it in like one go. It was like a 36-hour drive of like straight through whatever. Somebody else, like I remember meeting another guy, and I was like, he was like, "What's your movie called?" I go, "Off Ramp." He goes, "Off Ramp? I live under an off ramp." I think he was joking, but still.
Now
He probably
where
wasn't
did the name come from?
What, Off Ramp?
Yeah, like what inspired the name?
Well, I give credit to my good buddy. His name's Clayton Netvu, who also helped me. Like he was always kind of like reading scripts and stuff, and he just kind of came up with it and was like, "This is a good one." But to me, because what the movie is about is that it is about like, it's like not what you expect, right? And you are kind of like, you're going in one way, and then sometimes you make a decision in life that like sends you. It's almost like you said, Wrong Turn is a great example too. It's like that kind of thing. It's a similar kind of feeling that like, you know, life is sending you in a one way, and then you may make a decision, and you kind of go off, and you go take the off ramp. And when you take the off ramp, you know, because basically they take an off ramp that is like, you know, it leads to all of the things that happen, right? They're driving. If they didn't take off that off ramp, they'd have been fine. But because they get off on that one thing, and I think that's kind of what life is like you know, taking that sort of detour. A detour would have been another decent title, you know what I mean? Like, but I think Off Ramp, you know, it's also just one of those things that has like a kind of a bold like look to it too, and like when you see those two words, you're kind of like, what? And like it just kind of has this kind of cool look. So it really like, I think it just really kind of coalesced everything. It kind of brought it all together in a way that made you kind of go like, oh, this is cool, because it was always a road movie, right? Like road movie was like number one like goal, road movie about juggalos. And so it was like, as we were working on the script, it just kind of like came out. I forget it was called, I can't remember what it was called before now. I can't even, like, I mean, it's been called Off Ramp for such a long time, but it was called something else. I'll have to look it up and try or ask my co-writer.
I don't want to keep you. We've already had you on here for a long time. You got to get back to making movies and stuff. But I did want to ask you one thing. So like, obviously from the inception of this movie, the idea of a Juggalo movie, you yourself were not a Juggalo. You weren't even in the culture at all. You just had heard about it from random big events and then saw that movie. Now, after going to obviously you said, a lot of things in the movie even changed from your experience and like the stories you were told. But what about you personally? Like you going to the gathering, experiencing the culture, meeting these people, becoming friends with, juggalos and learning. Like, how have you personally changed? Would you consider yourself to be a juggalo now? Like, how's your perception different?
Absolutely, yes to all those things. Yes, I do consider myself a juggalo. And to it's Mankini made me see, it was like, you have to go on stage during the fucking Fago Armageddon. You have to do it. He's like, you have to go, and I did. And I was, as I said, I was baptized in soda pop.
Sorry if he touched you inappropriately. He likes to do
that. Touch me inside. Not inside of my body.
Is it just me?
He reaches
deep in there.
He really gets deep in there. He really gets way in. But
day.
Yeah. So it's one of those funny things that at first, like when I first was making the movie, people would always be like, "Oh, what are you doing this for? Are you a juggalo?" And I'd be like, "Oh, no, I'm not a juggalo. I'm just a guy." And like, you know what I mean? That was that kind of speaks to like the evolution, because at first I was like, "No, I'm not a juggalo. Like that's different."
Yes.
Like, oh, who are they? And now I'm like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes, I'm fucking glad to be a juggalo. I'm fucking honored to be a juggalo. I'm honored to be considered a juggalo, because to me, what a juggalo is someone who treats their neighbor like they want to be treated. To me, a juggalo is someone who says, fuck all this other bullshit. Let's love each other like brothers. Let's look at that. And I mean, that's not every juggalo, but that's not every person either. And like, I think, I've just experienced a lot of really, I've experienced a lot of really great things. And it is a rite of passage. It's very true. It's very much was for me. And I was really like moved. I was very moved by the whole thing. I'll tell these two little bits. And is one, so when I originally went to the gathering, I went with my ex-girlfriend, and like I had two other tickets. They were originally going to bring two other people, a producer and an actor, to the gathering, and it didn't work out. And so I had two extra tickets to the gathering that I had purchased or whatever. So we get to the gathering, and we're there day one, and we go around and we meet people and we talk to people and whatever, and just kind of like getting to know people, meet Scotty and all these folks. And at the end of the day, we're leaving. And as we're leaving, there's this couple selling Jello shots outside in the parking lot. And I never drink Jello shots. I would never choose to drink a Jello shot. I'm a whiskey guy. But for whatever reason, I was like, let's go get some Jello shots from these. So we went and we got a couple of Jello shots from these folks. It was a guy and a girl, a couple, and they were all painted up and had like whatever, and they were selling stuff. And so I just started talking to them, because again, I was like, I just wanted to talk to people. So like, I would take any excuse to just be like, hey, and just start talking to somebody and be like, tell me your history with being a juggalo, just to learn, because I really was going with like this open mind and trying to like learn as much as I could. And so this couple, the girl started talking to me about her life story, and it was just like, I mean, she was Eden. Like it was like everything other than her brother wasn't drinking her breast milk, but it was like, but there is, a lot of just similarities in like the way that she was like,
I wish you knew their name, because I knew a few couples that would sell like chestfuls of Jello shots.
Whoa,
and like that was like your thing. It was a big, like they would have flashing lights and shit on their stuff. And
her juggalo name is Psychosis. So if you know Psychosis the Clown, I think she's from Ohio. I forget her real name. I have it somewhere, but she goes by Psychosis the Clown.
Damn, I thought it was one of the homies.
She's in the movie, because there's a part where they say you hooked up with that juggalette, and he says Psychosis. That's her. So she was great, but basically her story was so like it just mirrored my character, and I was like, this is so beautiful. This is a person. This is a real person. You write this character and you like just type these words out and you kind of like make this character up in your head. And then to actually meet somebody and they reflect what you wrote was so beautiful and validating, because it was like, wow, well, this is that we're doing the right thing here, because this is a real, like, and it was also showed me it was on the right path, because it was like, it wasn't so far off. You know what I mean? That it was like, we were writing this like character that's like ridiculous and unbelievable. It was like, no, this is a real person. And so she then she told me, oh, we're selling these, Jello shots so we can get in. We drove all night here and we're sitting out where I was like, wait, you don't have tickets? And they were like, no, we don't have tickets. I was like, hold on a second. And so I went and got the tickets I had because I was like, I bought these and then I had them and I was like, I didn't know what to do with them. And I'm like sitting with them and I was like, this is exactly what this is why I have these. So I brought them and gave them to her and she was just so touched. And like she and her boyfriend were, and I was like, I want to film with you tomorrow. So I'm going to come back and we're going to film. And it was like just one of those moments where everything, like it was that Carnival provides. It was like everything kind of came together.
For everybody, for both parties.
Exactly. And, and I was able to give something to her. I was able to provide something, that was so joyful for her. And she was to be able to provide that back. And it was such a beautiful exchange it wasn't like, it was just literally like, I had these, it was there. It was so awesome. So
it's magic though. Like just that offering and like just the interaction, like that's the magic of like the gathering and the dark carnival and all that stuff like that.
And juggalos love free shit.
We love free shit. We fucking love
free
That's
shit.
true too.
Well, I mean, it was with her too. It was just like I said. It was just the right. It was just exactly the right. It was like I said. I felt called to go buy a Jello shot for no fucking reason. I would never, never in my life have I been like, let's have a Jello shot. But it was again like their paint was
we've
really
all taken questionable substances at the gathering. Right? Best place to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I mean, I would eat mushrooms before I would, or I take some acid, but Jello shots are kind of like, oh, they're gross.
Fun fact: the only place I've ever had a whiskey Jello shot was at the gathering. Very watery.
That had to be pretty interesting, I bet. So I'll tell one other small story that relates exactly the same way, which is another one that was really touching. So I showed the film, we showed it at New Orleans Film Festival, and there was this young man who came up to me afterwards and was just he was like 18, and he was just like so touched by the movie. He was just like, wow, this is something. And he said, watching this movie made me want to be a nicer person. And I was like, that is the greatest compliment that I could ever get.
It's beautiful.
Right.
And it is beautiful. And I said to him, which is the truth, I said, making this movie has made me a nicer person. Because it really did, having that spirit of trying to make sure that everybody's taken care of and make sure that people are all treated with respect, both fictional characters and real people. And I think that, the difference between the, fictional characters and real people is not much, you know what I mean? And that, like, if you treat your characters with respect. And I think that's one thing, again, that I hope it comes through. And I think it does from every time that I've talked to, but it comes through that, like, I want to treat these characters with respect because they are real people, because there's someone out there who feels just like them. And there's someone out there that's going to identify with them because that's close to their journey. So that's kind of what it is. So the long way to answer, yes, I'm proudly a juggalo now. And, making the experience of making the movie and of going down this path of, like, making a movie about acceptance and about people who may not fit into a societal mold has made me a better person.
And to be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, I'm for sure you have an idea, but I don't think you really have an idea. That couple, you have no idea how much you made their day that day by giving them those tickets to them.
That's a lifelong memory for them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's just like unbelievable for them, and I can only imagine how they felt too. And I mean, I will never understand it, but I kind of do, because there's a lot of things that like even like with Paul and I, like, we've had moments at gatherings that we thought would never happen, and these people really literally thought that they weren't never going to get in. Like, they're like, oh shit, we're just selling Jello shots. Like, what the hell are we really going to do if we don't get in? And here you come along and you just made their whole life right there.
Well, it was an exchange, and it was like, and they made my day too, and so to me, it was like, what can I, what small thing can I do to repay them for what they've done, for me? And it's like, it's such a, I think that's when you really end up doing something right, when you both feel like you're the blessed person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Sure.
And like, they felt like, oh my God, I can't believe that this came. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I met, you know what I mean? We both felt like, wow, this was so cool. And I think, and so that, you know, so I'm really happy. And I mean, again, that was just, and that was the first night I was there. So that really just like opened my heart to the whole thing. And it really was like, okay, we're doing the right thing here. You know what I mean? Like this is right. These are good folks, and they they deserve to be talked about in a way that is caring and human, and again, and the carnival provides. Amen. It's true. It's so true. You know, I really find it. And again, it's just another, the Dark Carnival it's a real thing, and it really is. I really did experience the magic of it all. And I think that's what, you know, getting good people around each other, it happens, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you did a good job on that film for sure. And I want to thank you for making a phenomenal film, because it was very enjoyable to watch for sure.
Well, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. I appreciate y'all enjoying it. And yeah, I'm excited because I'm just excited to keep getting it out there. And I'm excited for more juggalos to see it, because I know that they're, you know, and like I said, I'm just excited that people feel like seen, and that, like, you know, we're talking about something that's like, because it is universal. The need to, the feeling of wanting to be accepted and to be, you know, have homies and have your friends. That is a universal need. That is not specific to juggalos, you know?
Right.
And it's just that this was just the vehicle that was inspiring to me, and is, you know, and we've gotten a really positive response. I mean, people really, really like it, and they really find something. And somebody even told me after one festival, they were like, "You just undid all the bad that any media has done to the juggalos." I was like, I don't know that I've done that far.
No, I could actually see it for sure.
I'm happy you said that. It's kind of weird that you said that, because before you said it, I was getting ready to say it. I was like, I feel like people like you, and I don't know if you know who Tom Wood is, but people like you and Tom Wood, I think are going to maybe save the magic of what being a juggalo is all about. Because there's been so many, not even just bad press, but like politics within our own world with our quote unquote leaders that has ruined so much of the magic, that like so many people just bicker at each other now. Juggalo on juggalo,
oh my God.
all that stuff.
Keyboard gangsters,
keyboard gangsters, and all that stuff. But like people like you and people like Tom Wood putting on the float and all that stuff, like you're portraying like the magic for what it was. Tom is providing it back to what it is. Like we need more people like you. We need more people like Tom, and it's so exciting to think that. Holy shit, is the fire going to get rekindled? Is the magic going to come back?
I sure hope so.
I fucking hope so, man, because it's so nice to feel that again, to feel that love again. Like, you know, because like we obviously, because like we see all the bullshit, we report on it, and like, you know, we see all the negative more than the common juggalo, and it's just so nice to feel that magic again. You know, we've been so desensitized to it because we've been around for 20 plus years, and you know, it's like I want it back. Holy shit, I want it back.
Right.
Because the world has gone to shit, and it's such a nice place to have an escape that, you know, now it's oh, are you going to gathering? I'm gonna catch you at the gathering, I'm gonna beat your ass. It's like, come on, man. Why? Like, so thank you for bringing magic back, or at least it's showing us like, hey man, this is what it should be.
Well, you know, I think sometimes I thank you, first of all, thank you for saying that. And Tom is awesome. I met Tom at the gathering, and he's such a lovely human. And like, I think sometimes it might take somebody from outside the culture to kind of like look into it, to, you know what I mean, like just to see what, you know, because sometimes if you're too in it, you know what I mean, you kind of can't see whatever. And like, I think for me to see it from outside and to kind of be touched by the magic of it and to report on it back to the rest of the world, and the same with Tom, because Tom was I talked to him a lot. In fact, I talked to him at the gathering and then afterwards and multiple different times. Actually, I haven't sent him the film yet, but I've talked to him many times, and he was echoing that same sort of thing, that, you know, he just was like, I just did these paintings. And then like they kept asking for paintings. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing the paintings. And then suddenly he like came to a gathering. He's like, wait, holy shit, what is this? You know? And like, he's just like, and, you know, sometimes the old school heads are the ones who are jaded a little bit because you've seen it all and whatever, and sometimes it does take that fresh blood to kind of, it's the same thing with films and being a movie nerd. Somebody comes up and suddenly they see fucking, Full Metal Jacket for the first time, and they're like, "Holy shit, have you seen this movie?" And you're like, "Yeah, I fucking love it." But, sometimes you got to be reminded and whatever. So thank you for saying that. I'm happy to hear that, and I hope that continues to be the case. I hope it continues to touch people, in a good way like that.
Now, can we see a part 2?
We can. Well, we'll see what happens with this one.
I already gave you a script idea for part 2.
It's already in his brain.
Yeah,
Start working on it. I've had ideas. There's other movies I want to make. I don't want to only make Juggalo movies, but I would make an off-ramp too if all the stars aligned and it worked out, the right way. I think I do kind of like, it would be interesting to do something like that, or it would be interesting to be able to go, if we actually had, something, a budget that wasn't like begged and borrowed from my family and whatever, that, we could, go shoot at the gathering. I mean, I always wished I could have, you know what I mean? Like it just was not, it wasn't exactly in the, it wasn't in the cards that we were able to do that, but that would be my dream, would be able to be at the gathering and be able to shoot like, a portion of a film there, other than just kind of the B-roll type of stuff.
I mentioned to Rue when we were talking about it on the review that I think it kind of added to the film that you didn't spend too much time there, because I was like, yeah, no, okay, cool. They they get there, it was, and some could be like, oh, it was hurried and rushed, like, oh, they're here, that's the end of the movie. But I mean, you focus really more on the family love. Like you really focus more on the character building, more so than the gathering. Yeah, sure, the gathering's the end goal, but that's not the pinnacle of the movie for me. Like the journey is the pinnacle, not the gathering. So like, I think that the fact that you didn't add a whole lot of gathering scenes, I think that was good for the story that you were telling.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, and I think too, my experience at the gathering was like that. I mean, the music was great, whatever. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But like, what was really the gathering to me was really people sitting in between RVs, talking and sharing stories.
That's the best part.
Yeah, and that was that to me was really the most. That was what was really human, and that's what I connected to so much. But yeah, I think an off-ramp too would be cool. I mean, Trey and Silas are pretty awesome watchable characters. I think and they have such chemistry. We could go a lot of places with it for sure.
And I don't mean to toot our own horn, but like for people that know stories that have been for a lot of legendary stories, you should hit up P and Rue, because P has been to every single gathering. And Rue has been to almost every single gathering.
What's your favorite one, P?
My favorite gathering?
Oh wow, loaded question.
I don't know.
There's quite a few of them actually.
Can I pick 3?
Sure. Give me 3.
The first one, because it was a new experience. The first outdoor one at Nelson Ledges, and then 17 with Wizard of the Hood.
Nice.
Those are my favorites.
Yeah, that I cannot. And when I heard the stories about the first gathering being inside an arena, I was like,
first 3, yeah.
First 3, wow. There's also, they were telling me when I was in Canada, they were telling me about a Canadian like attempt at a gathering that like fell apart. Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah. Yeah, and they did Canadian Juggalo Weekend. That worked out.
Yeah, that's what it turned into, right? Was Canadian Juggalo Weekend. Yeah. But I guess they originally were gonna like do try this whole. Anyway, somebody was telling me the story as I was just in Canada, and I was like, yeah, man, there's plenty of Canadian Juggalos.
Oh yeah, we just had some Canadian Juggalos on for an interview last week.
Hell yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
of course.
Actually cool.
Yeah, of course they're cool. They're fucking Canadians. They have universal health care.
So friendly.
Yeah, they drink Faygo and laced with maple syrup, and they love war crabs. Canadians are awesome.
They did when we had our script. Both, I will say. Well, one, this is not that strange but they still had to find it. But when we played in Kansas City, they got a bunch of Faygo, and they gave Faygo out to everybody in the crowd. They had like 100 Faygo. And that wasn't, but then in Canada, they actually went and found, like, I think they got like 6 or 7 like Fagos that they were able to find at like some specialty store, and they handed it out to the crowd. But the most impressive was in Poland, because somebody in Poland, in Warsaw, Poland, like had a Fago and like cracked it open like in the Q&A. And I was talking to the Polish people afterwards, and they were like, that wasn't easy for them to get. They're like, because it's those, like, stuff with that much like preservatives in it is illegal in Poland, one.
Oh yeah.
And then 2, it was like, so they like, that was like their like $40 like eBay Fago that they like cracked open, and
They've been probably sitting on for 10 years, and they're like, this is the time.
I mean, but that's the coolest thing about this movie is that, like, that's what I'm saying. They weren't juggalos. Those were just people. Those were just folks who were like cool.
I gotta try this juice.
Well, they were excited about the thing. They were just excited about, the culture. And like, I think that's the thing, is I think people are pretty hungry for this, like, feeling like a part of something.
The world needs a new Juggalo Dark Carnival. Like, we need a new fucking era of Juggalo.
Everybody got a new job, Nathan.
New job. You are our spokesperson. You get together with Tom and you go on a fucking rampage and you save the world from burning.
We'll try one. We're starting with the movie, and if we can just keep affecting people, every time.
I want to see you at the float. God damn it!
I do want to go to float. Fucking Keeney has been telling me forever. He's like, you got to come to the fucking float. I know, and I really do want to go. So we're gonna make it happen very soon. And the same thing with the gathering is we're going to see about this year. We're really going to try, and but no matter what, I know I'm going to be there next year at the gathering for the 25th, because that's going to be huge, and I just think it'll be right, after the film's out too. It's like I really want to be able to go.
Yeah, you better negotiate with them. Be like, yeah, no, we're going to show this movie at the gathering.
Because they got a movie tent.
Yeah, they do that. They do movies there sometimes and all that stuff. Just tell them, like, hey, I don't want to have a 4 a.m. spot, all right? Because like, people are tired.
I will not be awake at 4 a.m. So
exactly.
Fuck your sleep.
I mean, there'll be people awake, but shit, you won't be there.
I'm old. I like to go to sleep early.
Hey, I totally understand it. 9 p.m. is like bedtime.
Yeah.
Time to go to bed.
Oh yeah.
Except on Monday, it's like
I'm up early in the morning, so I like to sleep.
Yeah, I feel you. It's the same thing. You can't, when you get older, you just can't sleep in. I don't know what happened.
No, it doesn't work. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for work, and then like on the weekends, I try to sleep in. I'm up like 6, 7 o'clock. I'm like, so much for sleeping in.
Shit, 5:30 rolls around, I'm just up no matter what. I'm like, fuck.
That's life.
Yeah, sure.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us, taking all this time.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, we took up almost over 2 hours of your time.
Hey, I'm not sorry we tricked you.
I'm not sorry. I'm happy to be here, y'all. And by the way, too, when the movie's finally out, I'd love to do this again if y'all are interested.
Oh, absolutely.
Because then we could talk about like things that happen in the movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. That'll be fun. Oh,
yeah, maybe we can do something. When you start doing the tour or whatever, maybe we can find a spot to bring it to St. Louis.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Let me know too. Then we'll stay in touch, and obviously,
you can go to the trap.
Keep following us, and we'll keep staying in touch. And yeah, man, thank y'all so much.
Send me one of those Juggo juices, man.
Yeah,
I'm on one.
You got 3 of them. Just go ahead.
I see that. What we might have because we had to put them on our. So we have a local soda called Big Shot, which is like basically like the New Orleans Fago or whatever.
Yeah, we got Vess. That's what we got here.
So I know I have like labels. So if I have some, I might send you some labels.
Ooh,
that'd be awesome.
We'll make our own.
I'd appreciate it.
But yeah, definitely let us know about when we'll share out the Chattanooga stuff and whatever, the digital, whatever, anything that's going on, any sort of press or tidbits you need us to get out there. We're here for that too. So
thank you very much, man. That's the kind of like grassroots stuff we need. You know what I mean? It's super important. So thank you, man.
You guys follow him. Check out offrampfilm.com at offrampfilm on Instagram. And when you get a chance, go see the movie, man, for sure. And we'll let you guys know when and where you can. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate it, bud.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.